It's we're live. Well, hello everyone. My name is Daramouthe, and I have a special guest who I've followed for quite a bit. They've said hello to me because, I have I'm just a person, But we have Divinity here, the lovely Divinity. I almost
Hello.
when I heard I almost confused you with Destiny because I
Oh.
forget it's Divinity, not Destiny. But they're both divine in a sense, right? Like Destiny, Divinity, those two
Right.
things right there. Um, but yeah, I better check my YouTube side. Oh, please let I've used that. Oh, no, it did not. All right, I guess I gotta post a new link. So give me a second. Give
Sure.
me 1 second. Because um it made a new video. I don't know. It's still in beta, so it's gonna be one of those things, but um let's see. Get shareable link. Now I gotta go to Twitter because that's where everything's at.
Do
Uh
you have to use OBS with this, or is this
no, no.
just you're just in the Rumble Studio, so you could stream for free without having like
Yes, it's online.
StreamYard
New
beta?
YouTube link.
That's nice though, because the comments, there's a place for the comments to come up here.
Yeah. Okay, so now that that has been posted, everyone go follow that one. I apologize for the previous one because I thought if I set it up, it would go to that, but it didn't. So if you see a new link on my profile on Twitter X, follow that one because that's the new YouTube link. And I'll show you what it looks. Can you see what it looks like or no? Okay,
I
so
can.
I'll show my screen. I think I can window here. Let's share this. Okay, so you should be able to see it, right?
I don't see it.
Really? Presentation.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, also this. I'm sorry. This is gonna be a little bigger. So this is what it looks like for me. So you got your background. There's your end stream, your background, auto, all this stuff, and then you got your uh.
Chat.
This is the Rumble side. I don't think there's anything for the. Oops. Nope. Nope. Don't want to do that. I don't think there's anything for the YouTube, but I do believe it'll just pop up here anyway. I don't know if I can respond to be honest, but that I can just do that through uh, Rumble itself. So stop sharing that because I think we're getting a little loopy for that one. So, all right, but yeah, I've put up the new link for um, YouTube, and I'll probably give me 1 second. I'll just show it on my Twitter so that way people have an idea where to go. Okay. All right. Where's the sharing? Yep. There we go. All right, guys. Here's the new link. Like I said, I thought if I set up because this is my first time using Rumble Studio. It's still in beta, so it's gonna be interesting. But just to get things out of the way, here's the new Tubi link. Press on that, and it should take you to the right one. I erased the other one, so it shouldn't be there anymore. But go to this link right here on my profile page or whatever, and follow that, and you should be good. So, whoop, and I've got to turn my phone down because I use that to look at the stream. Anyway, stop sharing that. Let's get down to business. Divinity, first of all, how are you? You look very lovely today.
Thank you. I'm awesome. It's Friday, so that's always good. I did all of my chores yesterday morning. I don't know.
Oh,
I stream on Thursday night, so Thursday day I try to do all my chores, and then I have all day Friday to
mm.
do them, but I didn't have anything to do, so it just feels like I get a free day.
So what you are you in the United States? I'm not gonna
I
go any
am.
specific, just are you in the United States as a person?
Yeah, I am. I'm in the West Coast. Did you freeze? Did I
She froze
freeze?
up.
Did we
No,
both
you're
freeze?
no, you're good. You're good. So
I'm West Coast. I'm in California.
oh, you're in California? Oh, dear goodness. I am so sorry for you. The
I'm
stories I keep yeah, the stories I keep hearing are like there's crap all over the place and homeless all over the place. Unfortunately, I have family who lives out there too, but it's not. sometimes you're stuck where you are because of reasons. So
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, there are homeless some of the nicer places that you wouldn't expect it are definitely full of homeless now.
mm,
But I think that's probably a lot of places in our country these days. We don't really take care of our vets and our mentally disturbed, they end up
yeah,
shitting. They gotta shit somewhere.
yeah. They used to call them something else, but we're on YouTube, so we can't say that word. Um, yeah.
Damn it.
Darn.
That's why I stream on Rumble. You can say
Well,
whatever
yeah,
you want on Rumble.
yeah, I know. And the funny thing is I've got more followers on Rumble than I do YouTube. But my thing is, and this is something I've told other creators too, is like I know people try to push for Rumble and all this stuff, and that's fine. But don't just push for Rumble. Don't just push for YouTube. The thing of it is that these platforms, they're basically a balcony in which you get to put your content through, and they can do whatever they want to it because you're under their umbrella. So you
Mhm.
don't, the thing is, you're not safe anywhere. It doesn't matter what Rumble says or YouTube says, whatever, you're not safe anywhere. Yes, it is, Darth. Yes, it is. Um, uh,
Facts.
but the thing of it is
You're
I,
right.
I like the quartering, right? I get it. He's trying to push hard for Rumble, and I agree. I'm trying to support more on the Rumble side because I see the future. I have Rumble stock. I basically have Rumble stock, and yes, it makes me a little biased, but the thing of it is you kind of start rooting for the underdog guy against everything else, right?
Right.
And
Or
of
the
course,
one
you,
that's gonna stand up to for free speech
yeah,
repeatedly in the
yeah,
face of, like, losing money. I think that's a big deal. But you're right. Putting all your
yeah.
eggs in one basket is risky.
Yes, and you throw it on Twitch, you do this, bitch you whatever, do whatever you can, but don't make it too complicated. Like for me, two places. Oops, two places. I only do two places, and that's it. And then I have my Twitter X, and that's it.
Mhm.
Having too much social media, having too much places where I mean I get it. It's like casting a wide net, but up here just
Yeah.
nope, sorry. I'm only
Right.
one person, and I
Mhm.
can't, and I'm not gonna. Less people have to think about of where to go to find you, the better they can get to you. But it
Yeah.
could also trap you as well. So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But but yeah. So my thing to content creators is not one place. Doesn't matter where it is. Do whatever you want, but don't. If you're just on YouTube, you better start going to better start streaming to somewhere else because YouTube is only friendly to those who pay it well. And that's usually like what PewDiePie, uh,
Mr.
Markiplier,
Beast.
Mr. Beast has had his odds and ends with YouTube. I think there was a time he got either demonetized or he was hit with a ban or something. I can't remember what it was, but he did get
Mm.
hit by YouTube once. So
But you're right, it's like a balcony. If you want a platform to say your message, sometimes you have to play within the rules.
mhm,
I think I'm just at the point in creator-wise where I'm like, I don't wanna play by YouTube's rules. I don't like them, so I just
mhm.
don't.
Yeah, no,
Some of my
that,
stuff I have uploaded over there. If I find the message important, I do
mhm,
try to put it over there. I have
yeah,
5,000 people that follow me over there. I only have 600 people that follow me over here, so it's like I'm with you. Like, if you wanna get your message out, you probably do have to play by the rules, but,
mhm,
like, don't spread yourself out too thin. I do anything I want on Rumble, and then on YouTube, I feel like if I have a message that is important to me, then I'll push it on both. I
yeah,
also upload to Odyssey also because it just does it automatically.
yeah. No, and and don't get me wrong, Rumble still has its issues. I
Mhm.
I agree. I agree. But my thing is that right now, I think right now there's going to be something within the next 72 hours that they're building, and they're going to be sending it out soon. So keep your eye on that. Um, and for me, uh, and my thing is, there's some creators where I get why they don't do it because, as one creator put it, YouTube is where the bread gets buttered. So I get that. I get that. But when they can do to what they did to what was it, the the nose, or whatever you call him, Nick,
Mhm.
you're at their mercy, and there's no getting around it. If you can't get through, if you can't contact them, guess what? You're a fish in a barrel. You're done. So
Yeah,
I
it does
go ahead.
definitely feel that way. But,
Yeah,
like, when you sign up for their rules, you have to play by them, and that's the frustrating part,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. I find it funny, and this is just from my perspective, right? So whatever everyone has, um, free speech, whatever you think of it as a definition or defining or through the amendments or whatever, you aren't guaranteed it because if a platform can shut you down and cut communication with you, then they have essentially taken that. They've taken that from you. So you could sue, obviously, but YouTube's too big, and we all know how Google is. So yeah, um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, that's just my thing. Everyone has their difference. I know the someone Darth had mentioned like Alex Jones or whatever, and that's true. But they're still, it's like with Twitter X too. There's still people that are still banned, and no one's batting for them, or the people are trying to bat for them, but the voice isn't loud enough. So yeah,
Well,
like
that's why I appreciate Rumble. Sorry to interrupt you, but because of how they stood by Russell Brand just recently
mm,
and decided not to demonetize him or deplatform him in general, I think
mm,
that says a lot because there's a lot of pressure right now from from everyone to be politically correct and to err on the side of extra fucking oh, I'm sorry, do you use bad words here?
let's leave. I mean, curse words are
Oh,
fine, but we'll leave out the two big ones.
okay, 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 because you're
Yes,
on
we'll leave
YouTube, I
out.
forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I forgot what I was saying. I got stuck on
No, no,
that.
you were. It was
Sorry.
something about. It was something to do with Twitter X that I remember of.
Oh,
Uh,
I don't know. I think I was just saying people are erring on the side of being really PC, like extra
yeah.
PC for their, you know, for whatever sake, just the virtue signaling.
Right. And that's a funny thing too, right? Is like for just on the, yeah, bad words, for the
Sorry.
for, for YouTube, right? If we're just focused on YouTube, some people have used the bundle of sticks word and gotten away with it. Some haven't. And it's very iffy on it, but you you are still subject to what they do. And if you're monetized, oh, and that's
Right.
another thing too, right? If you're monetized, you better be monetized elsewhere, because it's not a joke. You
Mhm.
if you lose on an episode there, yeah. So
Yeah. That's the thing when you're on YouTube is that you have YouTube's terms of service. Once you get
mhm,
monetized, now you have 2 other terms of service, the AdSense and the some other thing. So it's like you can say the F slur,
mhm,
but then you can't be monetized. There's no rules against all of that except for if you wanna make money. Well, most creators aren't wasting their time to not make money, right?
yeah,
Like, it's not easy to put all this time in and to not get paid. So
mm-mm,
then, just by I don't know, definitely de-incentivizes it.
right. Well, and my thing too is that you don't rely on don't just rely on being paid for making content, right? Diversify your cash flow. Like I said earlier, I have stock in Rumble. I have other stocks too, but I'm putting my money elsewhere. I have, 401k stuff. I'm doing this and that. My I don't make any money. Well, sorry. I've made about 37 cents through Rumble so far. So
Hey.
I've made more money on Rumble than I have on YouTube, and that says a lot, because I don't have to wait for 1,000 people or hours, whatever, to be monetized. So,
Mhm.
yep.
That is
So,
nice. They do cut you in right away, but it's just not a great cut, but at least it's not nothing.
yeah. Well, the cut is views. Think of it this way:
Is it?
the cut is views. So if you bring in the views, the ad money the ad money will flow to you. But
Mhm.
if you get rants or subscriptions, like the monthly subscriptions, you get that. It's
Yeah.
just very dependent on what you bring. That's the whole important part. What you bring matters, and that's what's going to make it if you want to make money. Doesn't always
Yeah.
work. That's how this business is, but it's how it can go. I'm not an expert. I'm just some idiot on Well, I'm a partial idiot, but that's only because I was called special as a child.
Oh, you're special. That's nice of you.
No, please. So, how long have you been doing this? So, doing content stuff.
I think I started doing content probably last April. So like a year and a half,
Really? Wow. Because, so
I
what?
think.
Do you remember what you first started out with doing? Like, were you like just talking about whatever, or?
Okay. So when I first was like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, I started just talking about Christianity and my beliefs as far as that went. And then
Yeah.
I was it was hard to talk to myself that much. I'm somebody who needs another human to like ask me why or, pick at why I think, you know what I'm saying? I need another human. So that didn't work out. And then I started using YouTube kind of like as a video diary of sorts. And that
Yeah.
was during the Depp Heard, I think. And so that led into clipping
Oh,
like
that's right. Yeah.
community
Yeah.
stuff. And
Mhm.
so I think last June or May, I don't remember when it was. Sometime last year is when I was like, okay, I'm a clipper. And so then I did that for like a year.
Wow. Yeah. Because I know I know I know some people are. I think it was mostly. Was it Nick that you started out doing clipping of, or was that someone else? Because I feel like because you're connected to that in some degree.
Yeah, I don't know who the first law tuber. I think probably it was Good Logic was my first like person that I clipped. The first person that got me in trouble and got me on probably your radar was Uncivil Law, but I tried to clip them all
Give me a
just like
moment,
as a
guys.
more well-rounded law tube thing. Am I freezing?
No, don't you
Uh-oh.
dare. No, we're
Am I
good. We're
free?
good.
Okay.
We're good. Yeah, I think partly I have Wi-Fi, so that's probably why it has those hiccups. And I also
Okay.
rent a room, so I share the internet. So
Oh,
yeah, it's not. I've been doing that for quite some time, but it's cheaper. I
hey.
get everything for a set amount. So, but I'm sorry about that. What you're
No
talking
worries.
about clipping
Hmm.
someone else, like what was it, Logic
Good
for
Logic.
clipping?
But
Yeah.
I was saying I think that I got on most of the law tube radar when I was clipping Uncivil Law because he copyright struck me. And so from there, like I was trying to say, I just tried to clip everyone that was sort of in those circles
Mm,
so that I got a lot of comments that were like, they don't have time to watch 6-hour streams and they like to catch up with my clips. And so that
mm.
was what I kind of tried to do was watch everyone, a little bit of everything. If it got like interesting, then I would clip it.
Yeah, because I've seen that. I mean, that's for almost everything now. You have clippers for favorite parts of a show, stream, VTubers, goodness, VTubers, and all that stuff. So clippers have sort of become this. They've become they had become the shorts before the shorts happened, in essence, because they
Kind
were
of.
just yeah, because they just
Right.
short.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's just my point of view. I mean, it's whatever. Um, but yeah, I've kind of seen that, and then and it's funny how they all want you to work that in over at YouTube in order to get more attention. But I'm like, what? It just put
Yeah.
you just TikTok or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this whole content creation is just a weird microscope of figuring things out and doing trial and
Hmm.
error and something because not
Yeah.
one path one path does not lead to full riches.
Right.
uh
There's not
it's
one path.
Yeah, there's not one path that leads to full riches, and I just made that up. You're welcome. uh
Write that down, chat. That's yours.
I got it. But no, and I know there's ups and downs with doing this stuff. I mean, it's who you know or get involved with, and
Yeah.
believe me, I keep seeing those stories time and again. But at the end of the day, the big question is, why do you do it? What do you do it for? either by you or whatever else. And whether money or not is involved, will you continue to do it? I mean, if money's involved, that's just a bonus. But if it's not, what's your incentive then? Because money's always a nice incentive to do something, right? Like if
Right.
grandpa asked a lawn to be mowed, and he gives you $10, you're like, let's do it.
Yep.
Unless it's like an acre, then you're like, Grandpa, we gotta up this. We gotta up
Yeah.
this.
I'm good, Gramps. I don't need 10 bones.
And it's like Grandpa's like, well, I can give you $1 more. It's not how it works, Grandpa. It's not how it works.
Nuh-uh. No.
Won't you give me the family discount?
The family discounts, you do it for free, homie. That's why you don't work for family. They want all the extra perks and shit, but they don't want to pay.
Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. I did mow my grandparents' lawn, but my grandfather paid me for it. He paid me. He did like a by hour thing, so it was like $7 an hour. But I still did it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And then the neighbors on either side of him did that until one of them left. No, actually, sorry. The gentleman who was paying me for his lawn had passed away. I can't remember what for. And the other lady the lady on the other side was sort of, she was all right, but at a certain point I was just done because I got paid more at a job than mowing the lawn, and I probably didn't end it a good way, but you know, I was just done mowing lawns.
Did you carve a middle finger into her lawn?
No, I'm not like that. My family's a bit of
Me either.
My family's a bit on the religious side. Not like, so when I say religious, I'm not talking like holier thou. Well, no, not that. They aren't the holier than thou, but I do have preachers as grandparents. So one grandparent on my dad's side is still a preacher, and my mom's father, who passed away almost a little over 20 years ago, he was a preacher, but then they worked for a camp and they were camp managers, and then they just kind of lived and worked up at the camp up there. So I did have two preaching grandfathers. Just one was stopped a long time ago, and one is still continuing. So, but no, I understand the religious the religious aspect, but I'm not like, let's take this baseball bat and see what it does to you. Maybe Jesus will come quicker. Come on. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. But
me either, for the record.
Divinity, no, stop, Divinity. He was saying blasphemy.
This is for Jesus. These bats is for Jesus.
Oh goodness, bats for Jesus. That would be the worst. That would be the worst. You just start imagining it stuff once in a while. Like, how would that go? It's like it wouldn't go well, and not a lot of people would survive. So, but so yeah, I've been. So you said about a year and a half. I've been doing this since I think middle of this year during the summer, and I had always contemplated about making videos and whatnot. I was just never the motivation to do so. I was like, oh, I'll do it one day, and then wouldn't do it. So one day I just got a camera. It was worse quality than this one because the camera I have is autofocus and all that stuff, and the one previously wasn't. I got a camera. All I did was, instead of pointing at my face because I didn't really want to show anything, I just pointed down to my computer desk and had my hands, and I just talked about some stuff. It was unedited. I can't. Yeah, I'm sure you would find that hard to believe. I'm talking to chat.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see like the window of chat, like I was showing you earlier. So all the Rumble stuff, but it's still in beta and it still has trouble catching up. So I don't really fully count on it. What was I saying? But yeah, so I did that. I did like movie reviews. I did like talking about maybe some psychological stuff. But that was just it. Live streaming wasn't a thing because one, Rumble had that rule of you had to have 5 followers to start, but they don't have it anymore. It's gone. So you can stream whenever. And I didn't want to just do to one area. And if yeah, okay, you keep it up, Darth. You're one of a kind.
I can't. It's it is loading. I didn't have chat scroll. Wasn't scrolled perfect.
No, it's all right. Yeah, yanking my leg. It's okay. I don't care. Um, just having fun with it either way. But and the funny thing too is with YouTube, I can't post links into the description. I have to get verified or do like that whole 2 months thing. I tried it and it led me to like a blank page, and I was like, okay, I guess I can't put links in YouTube then.
That's weird.
Yeah, so I don't know what's with that. But for right now, I can on Rumble, and for me, Rumble has done pretty well. It wasn't great when it got attacked though, so it was pretty messy. When Rumble gets attacked, it's like you might as well just shut it down for a bit and just get stuff back up. Um, but hey, you know what? It's back up again. We're having a good time. So, but yeah, I've been enjoying kind of doing this. I'm not an editor. I can't edit videos. I just kind of, and people like authenticity where you mess up or sound weird or laugh funny or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You just go with it. So, but yeah, one of the things of it that I talked about was I can hear you very loud.
I'm sorry.
Louder! No, in the back, louder. I can't hear you louder.
Sorry.
You're okay. No, you gotta have fun with that stuff. There was a book I read a long time ago. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's called Influence. It's by a gentleman named Robert Cialdini.
Mm-mm.
I I'll get to it in a bit. But yeah, I this book it talks about it's more of like psychology for marketing, but it's something you can use as well. Like there's talk of like six things that sort of work: the reciprocity, commitment, consistency, which is counted as one, um, likability, scarcity, which is a big one, and a few others I can't remember. It's been a while. Um, but all these things kind of work in accordance with each other because the human mind can only accept so much
Mm-hmm.
bandwidth. And that's the funny thing too, right? Is like if you're doing social media, there's only so much you can do. Add family onto that or kids or whatever, and you're pretty much taking a coin out of your will. What is it? Not free will, but willpower. Your willpower bank, and you just keep taking a coin out, and then you start feeling drained. It's whatever.
That's a good way to put it. One of those things you said, dang, now I already forgot. The
Like
fourth
likability, scarcity, commitment, and consistency.
scarcity.
Scarcity,
What
yes.
does that mean?
Scarcity means so it's like when okay, so in the store, right? And they say limited supply or or for this date only or whatever, that's
Mm-hmm.
scarcity, right? Like they have
Okay.
200 of something and it's only for this day. Once it's gone, it's gone, and they can raise the price on that.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, because of
yeah,
demand or
yeah,
because of the scarcity, because of the
yes.
thought that it's not going to be there anymore. How does that compute to creator-wise? Have you thought of that? Have you worked through that yet?
No, I haven't
Okay.
used the one thing I could probably do is commitment and consistency, but I haven't done that either because I've tried to do three days in a week, but then it's like, what do you come up with to talk about? And usually
Mm-hmm.
I usually just go anywhere, right? I just start talking on a topic and I just go. But like you said, it's nice to have. Yeah, Darth Sidious is right. Scarcity means the limited supply of whatever because time equals money, which is correct because money is scarcer than time. You can always make more money, but you can never get time back. So time is more valuable
Yeah.
uh, in that regard. But anyway, yeah. So I have trouble doing consistency, and that's probably what keeps me from growing any bigger. Uh, well, that's a personal opinion, I guess. Um, but it's um it's just one of those things where you kind of have to keep hitting the beats, like on a drum where you have like 1, 2, 3, and all that stuff. You kind of have to keep hitting the beats um, every time in order for something to build. And
Yeah.
sometimes you lose the motivation, and sometimes, like I said, you don't know what you talk about. You just pick something, and it usually works. But I like this. I like being able I like being able to do this because you can bounce off anything off another person. Like, what was that? What was that? And you just kind of either switch it or you keep going with it or whatever. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
following the rhythm.
Yeah, I find I explain it kind of like when you first learn how to drive a car, and it's so much that there's no way you could ever even think about, I don't know, making a phone call or sending a text. And then after you drive for a while, you can start adding in other things to make it, more, I don't know, enjoyable, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah.
consistency is big. Only in the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks when I started on Tuesdays, I'm doing like a self-improvement type thing where right now we're reading Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving Any F's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so now that I do that on Tuesdays and then on Monday we try to keep it sometime law related, it is such a, I want to say burden because I never felt like a burden, but it
Mhm.
it makes my life so much easier. I know what Tuesdays look like. You know what I mean? It's going to be the next chapter. I know I sort of know what Thursday evenings look like because it's starting to form up in my mind. But yeah, coming up with topics is difficult.
Yes. But and it's also kind of one of the things too is like, yeah, you wish you could have someone on, but you know, they have to make amends for their stuff and they can't always be on. And I've talked to some people, and sometimes it falls to the wayside and they don't respond back or whatever, and some
Yeah.
do. I've had two live stream chat streams with Miss Zora. One with one with the lady. What was it Lady of Queen of Madness, whatever? But either it was the internet or Rumble or whatever. Something was going on bad, and I couldn't keep any recording of it. So
Damn.
it was a day of disheartenment. But
Yeah.
I like this, and the funny thing is, I just like on that. I think later in the day after that happened, I was done. I texted that thing to you in your DMs. It's like, hey, would you like to come on? And I was like, yes. And I was like, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
because I don't. I mean, I follow you, but I don't always watch your videos because I'm working usually during when you do it. So it's
Oh
sort of
yeah.
like, yeah,
It's
and
hard to be a creator with creator friends
yeah.
because there's just, like you said, there's not a lot of extra time to also be a consumer. And so,
That's funny too because it's like you you are kind of creating a product, but it's almost like recycled material at a point, and you're creating a product, but anyone can do it, and you're kind of battling like a million to billion other people. Now I
mhm.
know some say, well, there's so many people in the world, and all these people, you'll have an opportunity to find those people. It's like, yeah, but Markiplier's at like 25 million people, and that's a chunk of change within the U.S. if they were just all from the U.S. Um, no, I mean, the thing of it is, for making content, it shouldn't just be about some people seem to have a hard time with those questions to themselves, which, yeah, which is difficult in its own right. It's understandable.
What was the
Um,
question? You cut out for a second.
the no, it was just me talking about how people have like the questions I asked earlier. About
Oh,
what are you making content? What do you want to do
mhm.
with it? Is it for money? If what money was involved, would you still continue doing all that stuff?
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I would. I mean, it's nice when you can have the extra bit, but I'm not getting paid much of anything, and I'm still doing it. So if you start out that way, I think it can be a better experience when nothing happens.
Mhm.
So yeah, on that regard. But I'm only me, so
Well, I remember telling, this one girl that was just starting, and she was on a panel with us, and she's like, "What advice is there?" And at
Mhm.
that time, I remember saying, "Write down what you want, what you envision, how do you see this going, what success kind of looks like for you. Write it down like actually on a white piece of paper or something, pin it to your wall because things will change when you are monetized. Things will
Mhm.
change when you have a community now. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to look back and remember what your goals were and who you wanted to be to help you kind of focus there. And it can change, of course it can change, but it's gonna once you learn how to drive this car, you realize it can go really fast, and that becomes a whole different game to play. It's like,
Mm.
"Okay, well, this is different. Now I need a roll cage." You know?
Yeah. And it's like with well, you Jessica Reloaded, right? You know who she is.
I do.
It was like with her and her ordeal where she's like, I'm changing things around, all that stuff. It's not. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do and forget everything else, which is like what you're reading with your book, you know. Um, but there is a kind of thing where you kind of have to have a core center, and you just have to go.
Yep.
What, what's the point of making content creation if you're just gonna keep roller coasting all the time just because money's involved? Because I'm gonna tell you what, it can come as quickly as it can go,
Right.
and if you aren't being smart about it, it's even worse.
Mhm. For
Even
sure.
worse.
Well, this
Uh,
time last year, I was making a shitload of money every month on YouTube, and now this year, I don't make any money on YouTube. So it's like,
really? Is it because
well,
you're demonetized or what?
I'm not monetized now, but even before I was not monetized, it's like you have to say what they want you to say or else they're not happy with you. And so
Yeah.
that becomes a problem and you have to realize that's when it's like, shit, do I want money or do I care about my integrity? A
Hmm.
lot of people, I mean, if I can understand if you've been doing this for a couple years with the intention of making money and
Right.
now you're finally doing it that you might want to like curtail how you do things, but for me, it's like it was never about money, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna piece out of YouTube, go over here," and but it is kinda strange, like, how that works when you
Yeah.
start adding the money piece in.
Yeah. So how is so since we're talking about platforms and stuff, the Rumble side of things, I know you have some people signed up through your monthly. How has that worked for you, having people signed up through your monthly there?
I
Or
haven't
or you
I
don't pay
can't
attention to it?
yeah, I don't it doesn't require anything from me, like, that's an automatic thing that Rumble has set up, which is really nice.
Hmm.
So I know that it shows me that I have subscribers, and it does show me, the income that I've made.
Yeah.
So, it just I think it's really dope, that people can do that, I don't know, I like how they give them the little if you notice in chat I don't know how it would work in the Rumble Studio, but in the regular chat, if somebody's a subscriber and they talk, it's
Yes.
always highlighted. So they don't have to,
Yes.
like, super chat you or whatever, you always kinda see that they're a supporter,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Well, I think you still get super chatted because everyone wants to talk, and I think some people will want to support, but I think it's more of just getting the attention because that's what a super chat is. It's to get the attention. It's that ding. It's the little ding bell, like, oh, it's $2. Gotta say it, because if it's just regular chat, you're gonna pay attention to maybe one or two or the mods, and that'll be it. Because there's just too many voices wanting to get your attention, which could make for a good stream, but not all streams are about reading super chat. So, but yeah, I know, I think it's still, I don't know if it's changed or not, but I know until the end of the year, only the monthly subscribers is all yours.
Right.
Whatever that total is all yours at the end of the month. After that, I don't know if they'll continue that or not, just because they did it for a special ordeal. But I mean, for 20% less compared to YouTube's 30%. I mean, it's not a bad deal.
Mhm.
It's just you have
And
to
there's
get people.
just one tier, there's no you don't have to say, like, "I'm going to do a special" not that that's a problem to, like, give something extra for the subscription, but on YouTube, you have your memberships, and it's like every tier, there's another benefit, which just really means another more time out of your, you know, whatever you called it, your free will bucket or whatever it was
Yeah,
that you know, it's
willpower.
yeah, willpower pocket, yeah, so it did make it difficult, where this one, it's like you're not promising anything, and then it does still give them the opportunity to support you without,
Mm,
trying to figure out how to work that in additionally. But I'm
yeah,
also, like, maybe a lazy creator where I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know how to do that."
guys, just Guys, if you're in chat, just push the button for me and put
Yeah,
a
please
3.
follow.
Add 3 + 5 and just do it. Whatever that number is.
Just do it.
Um, yeah, and but the one thing they don't have that YouTube has is the membership streams. Like you can turn a stream into membership. Now you could do that with locals, but they're
Mhm.
still separate entities, which I don't know if one day they'll combine or whatever. But Rumble owns locals, so
Yeah.
the yeah. So Rumble owns locals. They're just still separate by for
Do you
now.
do you have a locals?
No,
Or no?
for me it's kind of pointless because I'm not making any money for it, and there's nothing to
Mhm.
do anything extra. Because why? If
Yeah.
people want to if people want to donate, I'm not gonna whatever. But uh, it shouldn't. Locals to me is just an extra step for something that Rumble can do right now, or
Yeah.
possibly do in the future. I would like to have that ability in one place, like YouTube does theirs, instead of having to go to from Rumble to locals or from YouTube to locals to in order to do that. It should be on the platform instead of going to another platform. I
So, the way that I think Sibling Revelry does it,
mm,
who's a Rumble creator here that I've had him on a couple of times, really cool, Paul. I'm pretty sure he has the locals,
mm,
and in order to stream to his like exclusively, he does an unlisted Rumble
mm.
and then post the link on locals. So
That's right.
that
Yeah.
way, the link is you only get the link if you're the paid membership, but the stream is always on Rumble, so there isn't really the two thing and everything kind of, there's no time limits, none of that, which
Yeah.
is kind of nice because then it limits that other channel of, interaction because that's a whole nother social.
Yeah. And yeah, because those, I don't think if you were to make it for just your viewers, it's not monetized, I don't believe. Because yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say on his where it's if you're sending it to locals, those people would be paying. So you know what I mean? It's like the
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
the
Through
extra
there to get
portion or
that.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So it offsets it because it should, you should still be able to do rants, even if it's not monetized to get ad money. It should be allowed to still do rants if someone wants to do a rant. Like
On
that
the
makes sense.
unlisted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the unlisted private video, or private stream, whichever how you do it.
Yeah.
Because I have seen that before. It's just I did it. I think it was the first video I did on Rumble. But it's not gonna get noticed. It's not gonna whatever. So you just kind of have to whatever. So but I believe in the ability that they're putting in for it right now, and that's why I bought stock into them.
Mhm.
Even if it goes up or down, it doesn't matter. I've bought into the possibility of its future, and for me, that has a more brighter light than what YouTube is doing, because YouTube's already hit the point they almost can't do anything more. They can only do fixes, and right now their fixes are demonetization and people who supposedly uh, follow and or don't follow the rules. So it's a messy place with undefined terms. Well, defined terms, but they're still kind of vague and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I so you've been doing the book series. I know you did. What was that one? You did a I think it was divine something like a what was your video yesterday? It was something to do with like maybe palm reading or something. I can't remember. You have done some mysticism stuff too. So
A little bit. We did, yeah, I don't we did like future telling where we talked about like Nostradamus and different people
oh
that
yeah.
have predicted the future and if they were any good at it. That's
Mm,
kind of like the random stuff that we do on Thursday night, where it's like a little bit of a deep dive, a little bit of obscure information. Project Stargate, we messed with that. I love dealing with the government programs, like
mm,
all of the things that they've done to us or for us or whatever.
yeah.
Um,
Like
but
the
yeah.
MK Ultra stuff and all that.
Yeah, we just did remote viewing. That might be what you're talking about, actually.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that. Yeah, I think that inspired the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, because I
I
think
think you're
that's
right. Yeah.
yeah, because I've seen that movie. It was a pretty funny movie because I remember in the movie I think it's George Clooney's character looks up the cloud and he does a cloud burst and it just dissipates. On Ewan McGregor's like, what the?
Yeah, he did it with his mind.
I'd be like,
Um,
let's fly instead of blow up a cloud. Oh goodness.
Darth
Yeah.
Hideous is blowing up your chat. He said something about consolidation. The owners
Yes.
of Rumble and Locals, the parent company owns them both, Rumble and Locals.
Oh,
It was created to
they.
merge them.
Well, hold on.
Oh, did I break everything?
It's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no. What?
You're
Yeah.
back.
It froze up a bit. So what were you saying? Oh, you're reading the chat. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
great.
was just reading chat. Now look, I was just catching up on what Mr. Hideous was saying.
Yeah, he's probably the only person that's even talking. Well,
Yeah.
has been for a while. So thank you, Darth. Even if you don't like my guts, thank you. You're an upstanding citizen.
You remind me so much of somebody. Are you in the Midwest?
So you said California, right?
Right.
The state I'm in is Indiana. I won't say where
Oh, I
because
would have never guessed that.
yeah, Indiana. So I am in the state of Indiana.
Okay.
Now that's where I've been a majority of my life. I was born in Michigan, somewhere in Michigan.
I was gonna ask you if you were from Michigan. That's the accent that I hear.
So the funny thing is when you first start doing these videos and stuff, right? You hear your voice for the first time on a recorded stage. I heard myself and I was like, why do I sound like someone who has a lisp issue? Like I have a speech impediment or something. I don't know what's going on. 'Cause every
I don't
time
hear that.
well, I hear because it sounds like every time I do something with S, it's just like whatever. So I think it's because of yeah. You'll hear it
It's
now from
just
now.
like no,
Yeah.
I didn't hear it that time either. I think it's just you.
I like
You
to
hear
think
it.
I'm a little crazy sometimes too. But no, I was born in Michigan,
Okay.
date unknown, and then my parents, after a certain period of time, moved to Indiana. Uh,
Nice.
I don't remember what the reason, but they were living with my dad's parents at the time, and then when they found a home to buy,
They
then
stayed.
they went there. But yeah, so I'm in Indiana, from Michigan, Indiana, and and it's somewhat nice. I am not a fan of the winter stuff. So like right now it
Mm.
was right now it's like 50 something degrees today. And I was like, thank you, Lord. Please let me wear shorts on Christmas. Let me wear shorts on Christmas. Come on. Come
No,
on.
no, no. Dear Lord, I know we got a good relationship. Don't listen to his prayers when he tells you no.
Hey, don't you talk to him like that. Don't you
Somebody told me this morning that it was good that I might have a white Christmas in California. I was like, no way, it's like 70 degrees out today. And then I looked at the 10-day forecast. I'm like, well, on the 10-day forecast, it does say we're gonna get rain. And then I was like, wait a minute, if today's the 15th and the 10-day forecast, we could have a snowy Christmas. So yes, let me double down on these prayers. Dear Jesus, I love you lots.
No,
Please.
I thought of something funny. I was like, you already have a white Christmas. It's all those white people in California.
There's a lot more brown ones than you would think. I like 11 million. Get me out to racism. We on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I just thought when you said white Christmas, like, well, there are a lot of white people in California, so that is a white Christmas.
There's a lot of cocaine in California. It's a lot of methamphetamines in California. That's why it's a white
true.
Christmas.
Where the white powder flows like a river.
Yeah, say no to drugs, kids.
See, well, that's a funny thing too, right? Is I've seen people who, uh, I don't know, I'm not a politic person or care about politics, whatever, but I've seen people who call themselves was a libertarians, I think it is, right? And some have talked of just making all drugs legal, like just making everyone, which I get, but you run the risk of pretty much killing everyone at this point, because if what is it, San Francisco or whatever,
Uh-huh.
if anything of that is a point, or no, San Francisco, and I think Portland,
Oh,
has
Portland
those
has
issues.
free legal. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
sure.
they have those issues too. So yes, one could say 1 to 2 places does not represent everything. Fair enough. However, you see a sample of a possibility. You know how you were talking about Nostradamus, right, and all that stuff. How just and sometimes it's fake.
Mhm.
But you have someone who you have a place or a thing or whatever that kind of can give a glimpse into things. And yeah, you could say, well, don't be afraid of the future and all that stuff. It's complicated. The whole thing is complicated, but it shouldn't be put off to the side, stating that there will be nothing wrong with it. Just all of it free, all of it open. Nothing wrong will happen, or let the poorest die, or whatever it is. It's just it's a
Yeah.
very inconceivable conceivability, and a lot of people will have different ideas of how it will or should go. Well, will.
I used to clip a guy called Son of Hightower on YouTube,
Mm,
and he
mm,
was wandering around Portland for like 30 days. He did it straight every day for 30 days. I saw some crazy stuff in Portland. It was unbelievable. Like I saw someone shoot up on the train. I saw it was some crazy. I saw people get chased because they were like in the way of an anti or pro-choice march. It was just a lot goes on there. But someone
mm,
commented in one of those videos, and she said she lives in Portland, and she voted for the drug use, for the legalization, and that she's moving. She totally regrets it. That she had no idea that it would be what it turned out to be. Like a lot of
yeah.
people, and I agree, are for free choice. If you want to kill yourself, I think you should be allowed. But it sucks when it becomes the needles on the streets and things like that. That's the unintended consequences of some people being able to flaunt their liberty without consequences, and that kind of sucks.
So that leads to my question with about the Canada stuff, right? And their MAID program.
Mhm.
Okay, so if people choose to do the MAID, does that does that still fall in line with what you're thinking then? If they choose, okay, so if they choose MAID, they've made the choice to die. Now
I
it's possible they could be coerced because they feel like their options are limited and all that stuff. But you don't know. I don't know.
Right.
So our decision making only can be based on a thought experiment, which basically is what would you do in this
Mhm.
situation? Well, if
Right.
it was me, I wouldn't have chosen it. But how would you know you wouldn't have chosen it if you're not in that situation?
Right.
And it's a devolving process from there.
Mhm.
So
I I think so MAID is medical assistance in dying, and I
yes.
think the problem Canada is demonstrating is that they are willing to go down to teenagers, and their death rate on their MAID program is, like, just astronomical from what they said it would be when they introduced the program. So, a
Mhm.
lot of people they call I my co-host is Canadian, and
Yeah,
he's also on
Nova.
disability, yeah,
Yeah.
and so he said that the MAID program has called him. I'm not sure if it's twice or if I just think that because it's hilarious, but they call him and they're like, "So, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever thought of" basically, like, the easy way out? And he's like, "They're basically trying to get me off the books by t telling me I can die." And
Mhm.
it's, like, hilarious because it's Nova, and I like to make jokes about that, but it's also kind of like, that's fucked up that the government's gonna call you and be like, "You done yet? No? We'll call you tomorrow, see if you're having a bad day." Because really, in a bad day, you could just off yourself when really you didn't want to. That's the
Yeah.
shitty part. But I do believe you have the right to make dumb
Duet.
choices. I totally believe that we should
Right.
be allowed to do dumb shit. As long as it doesn't
Mhm.
hurt other people, right? You kill yourself, that's you.
Right. Then yeah, no, because again, you've already stated you've agreed with that choice that you allow should be allowed for all those things to happen, and you have to make the choice upon it. Which that almost feels like it leads to that movie like Escape from L.A. or whatever it is with Kurt Russell. Where he plays. I think his character's like Snake or something, and he's just dodging all stuff. I personally, for me, once you open Pandora's box, there's no going back.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with like the AI art and stuff, right? Like I know people complain or whatever. It's whatever. The box has been opened. You are not going back.
Right.
Sorry.
But I don't see the problem with having free choice and suffering your own consequences for your liberties without the government telling you, "You don't kill yourself today." No, I mean, I don't get it. But I always thought Kevorkian, the doctor that did him this, like, assisted suicides, even as a younger person, before I had this type of brain, I
Mhm.
always thought that was okay. I couldn't understand what the problem was. If you're a grown up and you want to be over, why not? Why is it against the law? It's wild to me.
Mhm. And then the question becomes, uh, for the adult factor, do you decide that factor on the legal age of what they have in a state or a country, or do you just base it off 18?
Uh, I would say now here's where I would say I would go further and say 25 because now your brain is fully developed, your reason is fully in. If you still want to do this, then bye. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So there is, I guess I'm putting something on there, but at least then you can't, like, as far as brain development goes and reason and like most of that experience has happened, you maybe understand by 25 that your shit is not that important or serious and your problems can change, and you know what I mean? But still, if I
Mhm.
think if maybe that's a like nice little barrier to put on it, but just for peace of mind for the people that live. It's really not for the person that's gone, right?
Mhm.
So you don't think, well, did they really want to? I mean,
Well, why would you care at that point? They've already made the choice.
well,
The que-
if we're talking about between 16 and 18
right?
and in the number matters,
Mhm.
then it's definitely for the people who are left behind. So to alleviate the question of were they really sure, you could push it down to 25 and then there become a lot fewer questions, like of why questions or wondering what could have been
Right.
different if you did that. But I say, I mean, without adding extra rules, if we just put it in place today, it should go based on your state. If your state says that 16 is the age of consent, then you can
Mhm.
consent to medical shit, then or things, then you should be able to consent to any medical thing. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that because of that I had the question too. Because there's the thing of emancipation, right? Where
Mhm.
a child. So I don't know fully on emancipation. I think that depends on the if it means it doesn't matter what state you're in. If you emancipate yourself, you're automatically considered adult, or you have to be the age of what is the age of consent, adult, whatever, in that state in order for that to happen. I'm not sure how that works. So, but I know that's a one cornerstone of legality for adult.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll go with that. The age of whatever state is. So say there's a state, and there probably is. Obviously, there's a state that has 16 to be an adult. Now, obviously, there are set rules for like smoking, drinking.
Mhm.
Obviously, those rules are set federal, so you can't really do
Mhm.
that. But you have the state. 16 is when you're an adult or legally an adult by the legal age. So, and I think you've already stated that if the state has this age, like 16 as the legal age, they get to decide in all medical manner. So if they decide to kill them, to end themselves because of they are a legal adult, they have the right to,
Right.
because it's legality, right? We all go by the. But then you had mentioned something about 25, right, where the brain stops growing. Who gets to decide that?
That the brain stops growing at 25? Oh, we're cutting out. I don't think the brain stops growing for Rebecca. I just
High
feel like
five.
that's when you get the reason in. Oh, okay. Oh, what do you mean by who decides that at 25?
You were saying not I'm not sure if you meant it as a declarative as everyone should be 25 before they get to decide adult things, or if you meant it as a suggestiveness. So you were saying 25, and I've read that too, like 25 is the age where your brain stops growing, right? So if 25 was in a sense made or forced, whatever, to be the adult age, right? Like the legal adult age, like everyone before 25 still considered a minor to some degree. Who, if it's not, uh, well, I've lost it. I've lost on that one. I apologize. No, because we've somehow either on a state level or a federal level, we've made that 18 or sorry, 21 as the drinking age, right? No matter where you go in the United States, you have to be 21. Now, outside the United States, you can be a certain age lower than that. But certain states do have different ages of consent, which I don't know all of
They
them.
also with the drinking, the states are able to make their own laws with that. Like if you have your parent with you, then you're able to drink in a bar in certain states without being 21.
Is that in California, or is that
That's
just
not in California.
okay?
I know that when Rittenhouse was out of jail, they went to a
Mm,
bar,
mm.
and so wherever they were, Wisconsin or whatever,
Yes.
in Illinois. I don't really exactly remember those states, but I know because I looked into it because people were like, he's not old enough to be there. And so there
Mm.
are definitely laws where if your parents are there and you have their consent, then it's fine. But I think federally, the only age restriction they have is voting. I think the
Yes.
states set all the rest of the consent laws.
Mhm. But I still think you have to be 21 to drink in all states.
But
At least,
the state will make that law. Like I said, in
okay.
maybe, but actually, I shouldn't say too much because I'm just kind of guessing here. So never
Yeah.
mind.
That's the thing with us. We're just guessing on the
Yeah.
factor.
I know you can drink in other states without being 21 for sure,
Okay.
but that not by yourself. So that's why I'm saying, you might be right where
Yeah, the guardian drinking, whatever it is. Which I mean, technically,
yeah.
if you're drinking with a what is the driver, the responsibility
DD?
driver?
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's technically guardian drinking too. It's just lamer
Is
because you
it?
don't.
Wow, that's interesting. So it has to
Well,
be your
I
legal
don't know what
guardian maybe?
I don't know what they call the exact person, but the person who doesn't drink, but
Designated driver.
the designated. That's right, designated driver. Trying to think of the word. Design driver. That was a weird one. Um, yeah, so this designated driver, but usually I know some places probably do like a promotion. Yeah. There's some places that do
Hey.
like a promotion for those who are designated drivers where they give them like a free like a wristband.
Oh yeah.
You get sodas all
When
day.
I was a bartender, the designated driver got free soda if they wanted it.
That's the way
Most
it
bars
should
I
be.
think are like that. It's like go be a DD then. You can get soda all night. You don't have to get drunk. You're going to be fine in the morning and all
Right.
your friends will tip you because they don't know if you have gas in your
That's
car.
right. That's the good part. But I'll take Shirley Temples all day long. That's right. I said it.
Heck yeah.
It's all Sprite and cranberry. What is it? Sprite and
Cherry.
cherry. Sprite and
Yeah.
cherry juice. So it's like cherry Sprite, really. But hey, she was worth it. Being called a Shirley Temple. Don't at me on that one. Um, but yeah. So going back to like the since we're on YouTube, ending of oneself or whatever, and deciding the factors of what is legally considered adult or what's followed as such. Um, when you have opened the floodgates, say with the drug stuff or whatever, and then you have stuff like the maid thing, and you've made a set age, whether it be where the government has made the set age legally younger, right? So say Canada, whatever their legal age is, they've made it
14 or
15.
some shit. Yeah.
It is 14?
I
Oh,
think
well
so.
then my thing's not gonna work. Okay, well it's at 14. So say they make it 12.
Okay.
A 12-year-old gets to decide that they get to die, but you're the 12-year-old's parent, right?
Mhm.
Or the 12 you're under your guardianship, whatever.
Right.
Is it your right as a parent to stop them from killing them, harming themselves, ending themselves? Sorry, because YouTube stuff.
Yeah. I think it's your responsibility as a parent to make sure your children don't make choices that their brains aren't ready to comprehend yet.
But the government just said you're 12 years old, you're an adult now. In this hypothetical statement of being.
Well, then they don't live at your house probably, I would say.
Right, but they, as you just stated, they don't have the mental capability at that age. And
Right.
so, but yet the government has decided that in this hypothetical situation, because
Okay.
that's where this is going to be, in this hypothetical situation of Canada, because, Canada's screwy anyway. Canada has gone from 14 to 12 and has said, as of today, 12-year-olds are now considered legal adults. So
Yeah.
anything adult-wise goes. But you're still, in essence, the parent to the child, or know someone who's a parent to that child. Whose right is it to decide if the kid wants to let go of life
Well, if the government decides that you're an adult,
at that age? Yeah,
then they're giving that choice to the 12-year-old.
right.
So then it's I mean, then that's the 12-year-old's choice. That's not something that I agree with, but I mean,
Well, it doesn't matter if you agree with it or not,
right.
because that's
Exactly, but then everything, sex would be 12 years old, using drugs would be 12 years old. There's
yep,
so many things that I don't agree with here, but I
yeah,
do agree that if for some reason that's how it goes, then yeah, then 12. I would move out of that state. I'm a big fan of states' rights, so I'm like, okay, peace out. If that's not something that I want to do, if it's that big, you know what I'm saying?
right.
Then you go to a state that allows it. If every state allows it, then you've got 12-year-olds literally moving out and getting apartments, and not like that's a crazy world. But
Yeah,
there would be a lot of adjustment there, but I do stick with the fact that if this is where we're drawing the line, if we're saying we're adults now, then yeah, if
hmm
they're gonna make adult choices, this is one of them. The consequence is death. It's a lot. That sucks. Well, none of us are
hmm
getting out of this alive, though. So
yeah. Well, and the thing, I know it's a bit of an extreme, but my point is to point out the sort of, I don't want to call it hypocrisy, but it's the mangled mess of rules versus morals. Which one outweighs more? If you've made a 12-year-old a legal adult, which one weighs more? The morals of that situation or the law, which people have voted these people in order to make that? Which takes more precedence?
I think morals always take more precedence, and I think it's standing up for our ethics and our morals that have changed laws over time. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It takes standing up to that. It would. I don't really know what that looks like, to be fair. But I do
Wait,
think that morals have always taken precedent.
right.
E
Well, I mean,
in
uh,
this grand scheme of things, over time,
mhm,
we see that.
yeah. Well, you already see that now, though, with the U.S. and they'll just a majority. While you have people complain, they do stuff like this, or or Twitter or whatever. They people will complain all day long about how their system fails them, but what are they doing? Are
Yeah.
they complaining, or are they going into action?
Yeah, and
That's
I think the government, or the culture that we live in now in 2023 is so fast, and it's so expensive, and it
Mhm,
requires, I think it's designed to make people feel like they're too busy to have any agency in their local governments, let alone
mhm.
state or federal.
Yeah.
So they
Well,
can make choices.
no, yes, in the essence of that, but we've kind of done that. It's not just government; it's us as human beings. We've upgraded our
Sure.
technology to make things convenient more often. We let it be. We let our distractions, and this is a distraction. Movies are a distraction. Yeah, and there's great forms of art and stuff. I'm trying to get to the point of distractions, right?
Mhm.
We we as human beings, and the animals as well, we are on a blue marble circling around a golden sun in a nigh infinite universe. And the worst thing you can worry about is how your government is doing something you don't like and you aren't really doing much to change it. Tell me, make it make sense. How have you allowed the grandiose of where you are at in everything become so small to the things that are less than? Because I understand part of it is fear, right? Like fear. Nobody wants to lose their job. Nobody wants to lose their place to live or eat. The question is, what are you willing to give up to pursue the principles you spout online
Mhm.
or in public, right? Again, well, I mean, I guess social media online is public in a sense, but we'll
Public
just
square,
public
kind of.
we'll do online and then public square, like
Okay.
outside and all that stuff, because those not the
Yeah.
same thing, but they're close. They're just side adjacent. So, but that's my thinking, right? I get lost in it too, right? I get lost in the dailies of I gotta pay the bills, I gotta do this and that, and every once in a while I remind myself, you know, you are on something that can, it's in a microscope in the big thing of it, and the grandiose of it all is lost because we're more focused on our own hypocrisy, and we can't figure out how to get past it. Yet
So are
we're
you
willing.
kind of saying that the amount of people that are complaining or whatever, having an opinion, are
Right,
spending they have the time probably
or
to spend
not,
on change, and they're not
or they don't, but they have enough time to complain about it. That's what
right.
we're,
Like,
if
if
that
you're
makes sense.
watching a movie, if you're
Yes.
distracted in any other way, then you definitely do have the time. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's keeping up with the Joneses, and I did say government, that was a cop out because we are
Yes.
responsible for us, but
Yes.
you're definitely right about that.
Mm. Well, think of it this way, right? Like I know there's the whole nerd culture and stuff, or just people who enjoy certain creations or whatever. We talk about escapism like it's the vast thing to help us get out of the thing we're trying to get away from. But what is it we're trying to get away from? Oh, well,
Right.
you know, work's bad. This is awful. You know, I wish things would change. Why aren't you changing that? I'm too busy watching this series of things because it's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's a great point.
What?
They
Wait.
feel like they have no agency to change it. I really do feel like they feel like they're just this tiny ant in this huge system, when the truth is we're the ones, if we just did it,
Yeah.
it would be change.
The part of that is fear, right?
Yeah.
Like if you got a sizable amount, guess what? Government come out, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
You know? Or they can go to your home and arrest you. They already shown to do it,
Mhm.
right? You think we talk about freedom like it's there, but yet we keep letting it go. That's the oddity
Exactly.
of it, right? Like my thing is like I know people will, you know, bring up the Constitution. I'm not trying to bring anyone down or anything. I'm just trying to point out these things that have been in thoughts in my head for quite some time. So we point to the Constitution, we point to the Bill of Rights, we point to these things that are supposed to guarantee our rights and all this stuff. How? How does parchment and ink guarantee you your rights?
Right, no, you have to be willing to fight for them. That's why the tree of liberty is refreshed with the blood of patriots.
But who are the patriots?
The people are willing to stand up, who are willing to say, "I'm going to suffer today,
Mhm.
even though I don't have to. I'm gonna suffer today for the future." A lot of people just will they're not ready to be uncomfortable right now. You know, whether that mean, like you're saying, maybe they downsize their job or their
Mhm.
house or their whatever. Their
Yeah,
who knows
kids.
what it is. The one
Yeah,
thing that we're afraid of losing, our friend groups, are whatever the ego thing is that we're holding on to,
yeah,
you
the
know?
self-image.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, do you see that now, though? Do you see a lot of people out there willing to go? Not like soldiers, not like people
Willing to
Capitol
go.
Hill and say no more. Not like in a tyrannical sense, but like peaceful protesting, holding signs, whatever, megaphones, whatever. Do you see that happening?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's like a revolution 2.0 or Civil War 2.0. I think that's probably how it goes because
Mm,
we've been pushed. There's been all of this stuff and that never happened. We've been to the point where it's past time, in my
yeah.
opinion, that maybe something like that should have happened as far as our right and our duty to overthrow such a government. But
Hmm.
I think it's gonna be more of a shot heard around the country that's gonna get pop off, and I don't really want that. I wish that we wouldn't have to do that, but I see more of
Mm-hmm.
that it going that way than peacefully figuring out a way to be, divided. I mean, a united country instead of divided.
Like what I think some people like mention like a civil war thing or whatever it is. Is that what in the essence of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I know revolution, but it's still there's still a civil war
Yeah.
point parcel to it, or however it looks.
Yeah. It's definitely two or multiple factions inside our country who
Mhm.
need to punch each other in the face in real life.
Yeah, again, these are not these are questions I've asked myself, right? And of course, I've gotten a little down and out and more negative, but the question still stands: how can a piece of paper and parchment, which those in power can see it as, how can they defend your rights? How can they guarantee your rights?
They
I
don't. Look at Missouri v. Biden. Right now, the White House, the government, the DHS, the NSA, I don't remember the other agencies, actively stomping on our First Amendment right, our freedom of speech.
I
So, like, as long as we don't do anything, you're right. It's just a piece of paper, and the government's there to protect it, not to infringe on it. And if we make it so they don't have to, if we, I don't know, cower every time they infringe, then they're just going to keep doing it. They're a giant bully.
So what was that? You said something about Missouri Biden. I don't know specifically what about it. So you can just can you explain that a little bit to me? Because I don't
Um,
I don't know a person about it.
so there's two states. It's Missouri and I don't know the other one, Illinois or something, and then 5 individuals, and
Hmm.
they sued the White House and Fauci, and this might be stuff you can't even really talk about on YouTube now that I'm thinking about it.
Well,
Um,
just do your best you can, because I know obviously.
for basically squashing narratives
Mhm.
that were unpopular to the government as far as I don't know what to say. I don't usually do
No,
YouTube.
it'd be like forms of, sorry, sorry. It'd be like different forms of use of free speech that were used and now are being hit on, like you said earlier. Well, maybe not in that way, but just different forms in the area of free speech were being used, and the
Right.
government said no.
They were blocking, banning, shadow banning, deleting
Mhm.
political speech
Yeah. Well,
and moving on to medical speech, and it kind of all
mhm,
intertwined. And the Supreme Court will probably hear it the next year, I guess, because
maybe.
it's too late now. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
they will. I think it's important enough for them to hear it. And with the court how it is, I think they were going to want to hear it and make it that ruling based. They're pretty conservative, and I would assume really be interested in bringing that up and putting it on wax that you can't trample on Americans' rights, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there was this whistleblower who came out not too long ago who said the same thing. And like they're actively, in Twitter, DHS, you know, telling them which posts are allowed to be said. That's our government telling us what we can and cannot say.
Mhm.
The whole point in a history of free speech, it's protecting the unpopular speech. That was the big thing. And now they're like, hate speech or unpopular speech or misinformation or disinformation, whatever the words are now. The
Mhm.
fact is that it's in every sense of the word, it's wrong, and it's just taking crap on the Constitution and our rights.
Yeah. You see how easy that is, though, right? How
Yeah.
you can disregard something as easy as just a piece of paper and say, I don't have
If
to listen to it. I got
mhm,
enough power to take you down.
exactly.
I kind of find, I mean, that's for anything though. It's not just for the Constitution, it's for any
Sure.
rules, right? If you're powerful enough or you have enough money, well, why do I have to listen to the rules? I can live above you.
Right.
Who are you to me, Aunt?
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, I'm not saying one way or another about our current administration, but Biden said, if you want to basically overthrow this government, you're going to need nukes and F-18s or whatever. And it's like, okay,
True, but then again,
we'll
the
see.
government has its own form of nukes that we, the American people, have allowed. And while some people can say that you should be able to own nukes, guess what? The government already has some, and if you try, you'll be gone. That's how easy it is, and that's how easy we've let it happen. Now, I'm not saying I'm some principled person I'm not like some Alex Jones or whatever. I'm just saying, talking about what I see and what people keep missing time and time again. This guarantees me that. Not really. This
No.
this rule, because it's mostly just what the First Amendment and the Second Amendment that talk about. Forget all the other amendments. Those are just whatever, but the First and Second Amendment are the most talked about, but they're not guaranteed at
Well,
all.
one of our founding fathers, I think, said something like, it probably wasn't, it's probably like Colonel
Yeah,
Sanders, but somebody said
right.
something like, the liberty, it's yours as long as you can keep it, or something to
Yeah,
that effect. And that's exact 1,000%. There's no America without first telling the king to fuck off. Oh, I'm
yeah.
so sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to say
you're
the
right.
big one.
No,
But you know what I'm
the two
saying.
big ones. Yeah, no, the two big ones are the C word and the N word. Those are the two big ones. The other
Oh,
ones
I
are
don't say
not.
the N word. I thought
Yeah.
F word was a big one. C word I
No, no.
do
Well, that
know.
other one probably is on YouTube, but Rumble's not whatever. So we have three. We have three, and the rest are fine. So
Oh,
don't
okay.
no, not those three, and the rest are fine.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's the simplest line you have to say. What was the line again? Can you?
It's liberty that it's yours as long as you can keep it or something.
Liberty is.
Let's
Well,
look into it. Let me Google
yeah,
it.
yeah.
See who said it. See if it really was Colonel Sanders.
Egg, it's yours if you want it for 17 bucks.
It's yours as long as you can fry it.
Yeah. Don't put that turkey leg in there. That's not
Oh,
chicken.
here it is. It was Ben Franklin, a republic if you can keep it. Something about that. Ben Franklin, I just learned recently. Oh, I'm blocked out of this article. Oh, either way, it sounds like it was Ben Franklin, and we're close
Well,
to the quote. Something about it's a republic for as long as you. I don't know.
right.
I got blocked out of the article, but at least it was somebody older,
Right.
Ben Franklin.
Somebody
But
very
I
old.
did hear recently that Ben Franklin was quite the womanizer. Did you know that?
Yeah, he liked them in their 80s.
He
Yeah.
did. How do you
Yeah.
know that?
Oh, that was I can't remember where heard it or remembered it, but it was some tidbit I picked up. It was a long time ago. It wasn't from whether it was like this something. I just remember it from somewhere, but I think one of the reasons stated was that they couldn't get pregnant, which is true.
They can't get pregnant, right? And he says once they're like no longer useful, they're very grateful. They're like once they can't have babies, they like get more they start learning shit to be more or to get more interesting. And the list of things that Ben Franklin said about older women was hilarious.
And if you think about it this way, I've heard people talk about how there are reports of in like the not retirement homes, but like the hospice, where the old people are just running around and spreading diseases. Well,
Dude, you're right. I don't think of hospice. I think you had it right with the old folks home.
yeah. Well,
Hospice
what
would be
are they?
gross.
Not hospice, but the retirement home. You know, where
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else takes
Old
care of
folk.
them. Yeah, the
For
old folk
sure.
home.
I did hear that too. That's disturbing fact.
But it shows that it doesn't end at a certain age. Maybe it kind of slows down a bit. But and that's a funny thing too is that I always find it funny when people, if you have kids, if you're married, you have kids, it's understandable to a point, but don't lose it, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah, totally.
you have, I don't know, I'm not married, but I feel like it doesn't have to be a centerpiece. I agree. It doesn't have to be a centerpiece, but when you lose it and you never go back to it, it can make things worse. I do. You don't marry somebody and then it goes to a certain point and then that's it. No more hooky pooky. All right.
Yeah.
It's always there. It's just you've got to find your way back to it.
I think if you stop with the hokey pokey, then the man has a higher chance of getting like prostate cancer or something like that. So if you're a woman out there and you're married, don't do that to your husband.
It You don't have to stop it for long. It's just because you know how parents are, right? Like you always hear the stories of like I had to do a quick one because of the kids and stuff. Um, but it shouldn't. For me, if you're married to somebody, it shouldn't end at a certain point because you have too many things with kids. I mean, I guess the excuse of like if you're tired or whatnot, I can understand that. Um, but the thing of it is like it shouldn't end because we never happens more. Whatever. It's like make time somehow, make time because I don't know what to
The government's shutting down your.
how many people I know who were married once and just at a certain point like oh now there could be other things that aren't said, totally fine, but we'll go on a general basis that if you're married to somebody and you know your marriage is going well, you're like maybe 10 to 15 years into it, but you know you kind of want to get back onto the horse of things. I mean, communicate, obviously talk to the other person because I it's so surprising how the easiest thing is such a lost thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I there's a shame factor or a fear factor, not Joe Rogan fear factor, but if there's a if there's a fear factor of talking about something like I'd like to do this, whatever. If
Oh,
they say,
I
go
heard
ahead.
a game. I heard of this like game you can play with your partner
Mm,
where and it probably exactly great for like what you're saying where you've been married for 10 or 15 years whatever and you don't even know but possibly you still have an active mind and you're thinking about it but basically you and your partner get the same set of flashcards. It's an online thing.
right.
And then you pick everything you're into, yeses and then nos, and they pick everything they're into, yeses and nos, and they only match your yeses.
Hmm.
So if you were into something that they weren't into, they don't see it. It's not like they're like, oh, here's you
Right.
know something weird, and then they're like, oh, I'm not into that. You don't ever see the stuff that you weren't both into. So you might get to see something that you never would have known they were into. Maybe it's like
Yeah.
food things or something
Right.
simple like that. But I think that's a great idea for couples because the word communication has people don't get it. They don't understand that just means going, what did you mean? Literally, that's what conversation is. Saying what
Right.
did you mean by that and really making sure you know what they're saying so you can respond appropriately. And then making sure they know what you meant. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Well,
communication.
yeah, and it's not just for married couples either.
No.
Communication is for everyone. And
Yes.
I think that we run to a point where either we're scared of saying something, scared of asking something, or some what's the word, amalgamation of something that we don't talk to that person. Now I get if you don't know them, a stranger, totally
Sure.
understandable. But that's where that process of talking is. And yeah, it's been more easier now just to take out your phone and not speak to them than it is to talk to the person across from you. And I feel like we've allowed technology to fill the hole that could have easily been done by just talking across the table, which is an ironic thing if you think about it.
Right.
We probably made one of the simpler things, not easiest because sometimes it can be hard. We've made one of the simplest things for our benefit something
Oh no.
much harder.
Yes. And called it social.
Yeah,
We call it social and we're not being social at all with the replacement for human interaction.
it's social in the sense of where it's connecting online, but that's more or less social. Now, obviously,
It's public,
yes.
but I don't feel like it's social.
Now, obviously, there are exceptions where yes, some people have
Yeah.
met their married couples through. There are exceptions. I can agree to that. Those exceptions
Yeah.
are multivaried. No,
Sure.
nothing in life is down to one thing except maybe life.
I bet you
Life and
those people
death.
communicated. I bet you that's a key factor in it ever working.
I don't want to assume because you never know.
I'm telling you, if anything's gonna work, it's because people can honestly shelve their ego and go, "What did you mean? I don't get it." Really, because admitting that you don't get it is
Mhm.
like a thing where people go, "That means I'm not maybe smart enough to get it." Maybe all of these things where it's like, forget about all that and just understand the human you're talking to. Try that.
Right.
So simple.
No. Yeah, it's a fantastic thing that's kind of getting lost.
Mhm.
I figure it's about we've been on for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the whole. I'm not gonna end it right now because if you still want to continue, I'll still want to continue for a little bit. However, you're available to or comfortable with. But for right now, if you want to shill your thing, go ahead and do that, and I'll do mine, and then we'll continue our conversation. So go ahead and do yours.
Alright. I've never really shilled my thing before.
Well,
This I do.
you don't have to shill it. It's just promote yourself. Promote
Okay.
your yeah.
Come come see me on my YouTube not my YouTube channel, don't even bother. Come see me on my Rumble channel. I'm Divinity143, it's all one word.
Mhm,
We stream Monday and Tuesday mornings. Well, morning for California, it's actually noon Eastern
mhm,
for 2 to 3 hours, Mondays and Tuesdays. We go over the law. Tuesdays, we do a little self-help, we're reading books. And then
mhm.
Thursday night, I'm live by myself. I'm trying to do guests. I think because I really love this. It's so much more
fun.
comfortable to fail with a
Yeah.
friend instead of just being up here by myself.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, if it's trash, at least we get to do it together and we get to laugh about it, you know? So that's
Yes.
what I wanna try to do is, like, incorporate more people into Thursday nights.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's what I do. Come see me, please.
Do you want them going to your Twitter X as well, or no?
I am on Twitter. That's fine. I do put my channel out there. That's Divinity_said,
Mhm.
on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
have
basically where I do
yeah.
all I do.
Yeah, I know you don't want your mention of YouTube, but you do have a YouTube, Rumble,
Mhm.
and Twitter X. Do you have any other socials you want them to know?
No, I don't really use much else. I do my main checking in. I still go to YouTube all the time. If you wanted to, I'm Divinity said all one word on YouTube, if that is interesting to anyone.
Okay.
I have a lot, if you're into LawTube at all, I used to clip a lot of that. There's a lot of fun stuff over there as far as LawTube goes. For a while, I had permission. I probably still have it, but to clip Sammy the Bull Gravano. Do you know who that is?
I don't think there's so many. I don't think I've heard that name.
He's this old mobster guy, but I was clipping him for a while. There are some pretty cool clips of him over there on that channel. But yeah,
Mhm.
other than that, I just my thing right now is doing live, being consistent, like we're talking about. So that's Monday, Tuesday morning, and then Thursday evening.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like, I think setting a time too, but then if you have like a guest, sometimes it can fall through. Or technology wise, like the one I
Yeah.
had with it was an awful mess and I didn't get to save it. But I'm glad I get to use Rumble Studio because I've been wanting to use it forever and it seems to be working so far. The only trouble I have is one, the Rumble chat stuff is not updating precisely, so there's that.
Mhm.
I don't know if you were to chat on YouTube, that would come onto the main page. I don't know. So it's in beta. It's still getting worked on, but for right now, it's fulfilling a bit more and for free.
For
Right now,
free.
yeah. Well, you have to be on a waiting list for the beta, but for right now, it is free, and hopefully, it will remain that way. But so yeah. So for me, I have three places: Twitter X, YouTube, Rumble, all the same username. Now, my Twitter X was under a different app because that's what I created under. I did have the Daramouthe name, but back in like 2015, no, was it? Back in like maybe towards the end of Trump's reign, presidency, I kind of well, it's the only I can
His
remember
reign.
reign, whatever. Some people want to make him a president, king.
Mhm.
But towards the end of the time, social media was getting kind of whack, and I like Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. And I just got rid of majority of it, and at that point, I decided to get rid of it. But I can't get it back because the
Yeah.
name's it's already gone. But having the same name across all your places helps to keep it uniform, which
Yeah.
is also consistency. But
Mhm.
that's iffy in how you can do that. So Daramouthe across all those three, YouTube/Daramouthe, Rumble/Daramouthe. I don't have a set time. I've been trying to do Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, but I also work out before I get on and do all this stuff. Hold on one second. Um, so you kind of, in a certain sense, you kind of lose motivation. You do all this other stuff. So, yeah, I'm trying to take care of
Yeah.
my health as well.
Mhm.
Um, the funny thing is, though, so I'm a bit of a pop drinker, which is not that great, but there is a pop I found that's sort of a little better. It's where they sell it here at some of the stores. Now there's two. There's one called Olipop, and then there's one called Poppy. Um, they here one second.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
It's me. You can see my whole room. Well,
It
here we
looks
go.
lovely. Yep.
Usually they're not this big of a screen, so I want to introduce. There's only one person in chat, so that's my chair. You don't usually see. You guys usually see on this crap.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome
Oh,
back.
there I am. Okay, so here's one of the cans. This is made by Poppy,
Poppy. Okay.
and so you can see right there, 25 calories. But
Dang.
the ingredients are sparkling water. For this one,
Mm.
this is classic cola, but it's also a prebiotic soda. So the ingredients for this are sparkling water, uh, organic cane sugar, which is, natural, apple juice, fruit juice color, organic apple cider vinegar, organic agave, natural flavors, stevia, natural, and all this other stuff. But and caffeine's in here too. But the thing of it is that it's all natural stuff. The stuff that I've been told to look out for is like sucralose, aspartame, or whatever that is.
Aspartame.
Yeah, that word. I'm not gonna be able to say it very well. But so this is still like, this can cost at least $2.50, but compared to the sugar count in this can for this cola, the total is 8%.
Dang, that's good.
Compared to soda, like Coca-Cola, which is like 160 something. Now again,
that's a lot.
The point of the matter is to try to get it off soda altogether, but this is a whole lot better than any soda out there, because you are choosing a more healthier option. All the ingredients are natural. I'm just showing it so everyone knows there's options out there other than, and it's good, even though it has what is it? Even though it has the apple cider in it, barely can taste it.
Yeah.
Right? And they have all flavors. I think one I had yesterday was like a cherry limeade. That's right. There was a cherry limeade one. And this one's classic color. So I figured
doesn't taste like sparkling water at all.
No, it's got all the different flavors in there as well, like the apple stuff and all that. It just depends on the flavor. So it's a cherry limeade, so you have a bit of lime and cherry, but it will say on the can itself what the ingredients are, and they're all natural stuff. So the reason I show that is because eating healthy what is it? It's very hard to transition over to eating healthy stuff. So there are these options. So I have to eat healthier because I have high cholesterol issue, partly in my family. I got it lowered, but it's not enough. So I'm trying to do it. So there's certain foods I can eat. Now there's this pop, which is a little better, and then there's I know people like chips, right? Do you eat chips or have eaten chips?
Yeah, I totally like chips.
So the healthier option for chips, if you can find them, are chips that are made with either avocado oil or olive oil. And there is a company brand called either Boulder Canyon or Canyon Boulder, and they make chips with either or. And there's three ingredients. One is I better be careful. One is potato. One is salt, and one is either the olive oil. Oh, there's olive oil, coconut oil, or avocado oil. Any one of those oils. Three ingredients.
Nice.
You go to any store, and even the healthier stuff like the popcorn and stuff, all made with like vegetable oil or seed oil, whatever, and it's got like 6 to 10 other ingredients after the fact. 3 ingredients for a bag of chips. How odd is that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's still a bit expensive, but
I bet. Well, that's how you baby step, right? You have to, if you can't get rid of chips, then replace it with something that's a little bit better. If you can't get rid of soda, then at least replace it with something that's a little bit better until you can get off of it totally, if that's your goal.
Weaning yourself off.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Habits are like that, right? Like, and you have to, like, as you're weaning, like, replace it with your new things so that eventually there'll be none of this and all of this. You know, they say it's like new habits are like forming a path through a cornfield where you know, if you do it for a week, you'll see a little path. But if like 6 months you look back, there's an actual path there that your brain will readily be able to take. It's just a matter of doing it over and over and over again until that's the new way that your brain decides to go.
Yeah. And it's funny how that works for us as human beings. Like I said, with reading the book Influence, it kind of opens the case of how our minds work in a sense, more on the marketing scale, but it's still stuff we can use in our daily lives.
Yeah.
So if you ever have an opportunity, it's called of course, Influence, but it's by Robert Cialdini, which is CIA, not CH, which makes it sound weird. But it's a really interesting book. It also talks about the Jonestown. So it uses that. It talks about that, but it talks about the psychological factor where that was part of that was scarcity because they ended up in like South America, I believe it was. They were started in America, US, and then they moved to South America where their surroundings were different. So whoever was the leader there during the time, they would be yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to interrupt you because I'm a jerk, but is it a long book?
Eh, Everyone pay attention to Divinity's background. It's lovely. Hold on. Hold on.
We're back. Oh, that didn't sound good. I'm just curious. I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but I'm curious if this is because it sounds fascinating. It sounds right up along the lines of things that I'd like to learn. I don't think you can hear me. Hi, Madcore, by the by. I see that you showed up in Rumble. Good to see you.
Okay. What's it? Okay.
Whew.
Yeah. I had to find it. Okay. So this what it is.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how thick it is.
Not bad.
Right? So since I have it, I'll open up to the parts where I'm talking about. So these are the chapters within it. Oh, I don't think it can.
I can see it. Yeah. There's like 9 maybe.
I'll read it off. So the first chapter is talking about weapons of influence, which is talking about how this stuff is used and all that. So the second one is reciprocation. That was one. Now there's 6 of these. The second one is the third chapter is commitment and consistency. Already talked about. The fourth one is social proof. The fifth one is liking. The sixth one is authority. And the last one is scarcity. So those 6 ones, not involving the first chapter, but those 6 ones are the 6 sort of things that Cialdini has kind of observed and stuff, and how those can affect us. Like reciprocity is sort of like you do something nice for someone, and it can be a bit easier for them to do something back for you. It's just not beyond the scope of what was originally done.
Yeah.
And then social proof is sort of like when someone says, well, many people have said, or those people have said, or whatever, that's social proof. Right? So it's just a very interesting book to read, and it's very it kind of opens your eyes a bit to how this works right here, right? Like, because we all know, or a majority of, big chunk of us know about cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias, right? We're all affected by that. There's no escaping it. Some people can probably pick it up, but we're all affected by it.
Right.
And that's everyone. There's no exemption.
Right.
Yeah. So I haven't read the book in a while, but I figured I showed it off because it's something new to learn. And I know you talk about interesting things, mostly government conspiracies and all that stuff. But
yeah. But on Tuesdays, I'm trying to do like what type of thing can we all do together where when we leave after this hour or 2, we have something that's useful, something that I don't mind, like water cooler talk, but I like
hold on,
things.
she's back.
Oh no, am I gone?
She's coming back.
Am I gone? Tell me if I'm back.
Come on. There we go. Now you're back. Yeah,
okay.
You're back.
I just like things that make you think. I like things that are going to roll through your brain again later. I feel like I feel like if I'm going to request you to come hang out with me for a couple hours, I don't want you to leave feeling like you don't have anything to show for your time. To me, I want to give you some piece of information that's going to stick with you, And
there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of times when we complain about stuff, we don't give a resolution, and sometimes we don't have a resolution to give. But it's sort of like with the whole debate about men versus women and that sort of thing. And then you talk about the government stuff we were talking about earlier. There's a whole lot of issues we complain about and talk about, but we really don't give much of a solution or have a solution to view upon. And either you have to find a way to reframe it to kind of get a different point of view, because it's like a prism, right? You have this prism, you just change it slightly and things can look different.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
yeah,
someone's
and
here.
then the dog barked.
Yeah. Somebody's probably at my house. But you know what? That's a good point, and I think that's what I'll take away from this whole thing is that personally, I don't wanna complain anymore without also having the solution, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Right.
what's the point? You're I'm feeling that right now, like, it's just adding more noise to something, to complain without
It,
having anywhere to go from there.
yeah. I would think like it's life requires a balance, but we can't really get a balance because we don't know how to do it. Uh, I'm human. I'm not even there. But to have a little bit of both negative and positive, because we have to remind ourselves that not everything is positive, but it can
Yes.
lift us out of these times where we're kind of stuck in a
Mhm.
circle.
Mhm. Well, that's really the big deal. The book that we're doing right now, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Any Fs, it's
Hmm.
really that. People are confusing happiness with their highs. So when they're happy, they actually are confusing that with a low. And like, there's no such thing as no suffering. And through
Yeah.
history, like the Buddhists and there's another one where they've taught like there's no suffering if you learn from it. Like
Mm,
to choose, and so then the basic thing of life would be to do is choose how you're going to suffer, you know?
mhm.
And so do you and that comes down to kind of what you're saying, you know, what are you complaining about? Is there anything you can do about it? And then so if not, why would you like don't do that? Like figure out, I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm being very convoluted right now, but
It is. It is very convoluted. That's the whole point. It's so convoluted because we try to, as human beings, we try to find a solution by draining down to just one or two strands. Human beings are so multivariate complex. It's not even funny. I've always said this. Human beings are simply complex because we are.
mhm.
We can make it look easy sometimes through our efforts of works or whatever, but um, uh, Apple, when Steve Jobs was still living, they
Yes.
would, if you read his, I mean, I know his biography wasn't the greatestly done because it was shortly after his death. But if you'd read that, you would know he talked about how we're making the Mac look so great, so simple, so sleek, so designed, yet under the hood, it's so complex.
Mhm.
That's what we are
That's what we
as
are too.
human
Yep.
beings.
Yep. And as complex as the computer is, it could never be as complex as we are. It couldn't do what we do. Our sentience, it makes it so.
Yet we continue to create something that will try to reach that.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you if you've already seen what like Tesla and their robots and stuff, Boston Dynamics is a
Mhm.
good one. But and then you have also seen the uprise of the AI stuff, which is a good discussion to have in itself, whether you agree or disagree upon the matters. Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
what I was saying earlier with the agencies in our government who are actively trying to suppress our political and medical speech,
Mhm.
they, shoot, I lost my thought.
Well, I would say it's speech. It doesn't matter what the adverb is before it, it's still speech no matter what. So you're just defining a
Oh,
grouping area. Go
that's
ahead.
what it was. It was AI. Those same groups, the DHS, the Department of Homeland, oh, that's the same thing. The ATF, all of those same groups that are within the Missouri v. Biden and the new whistleblower thing with
Yeah.
Twitter on the Twitter side of suppression,
Mhm.
they are going after AI now. And Biden signed an executive order. Basically, they want to make sure it's safe and they need to train it with in their misinformation, disinformation. I'm like, no, they're going to ruin AI.
Yeah.
They're going to
Well,
try.
yeah. It's like your book though. There's nothing safe.
Right.
I mean, I know we try, like for kids, we try to shield them a bit because we know what the world is like, but you kind of have to slowly introduce them. Not not in that sense, because I know someone's like, well, what about porn? It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
The sins of the world. Your child has to understand the sins of the world. It doesn't mean in the religious, Christians, it's we're in the world, but we're not of it, right?
Right.
That's the whole thing. So as that, you kind of have to introduce, because the questions will come up. A kid will ask 20,000 questions, and you'll only be able to answer some of them. But the ones that you you can try to answer about the world stuff, it's difficult, it's rough, and there are things out here that are mostly just made for adults, because as kids we felt like the adults were holding on to something that we wanted to be a part of, and now as adults we want to go back to being kids.
Right.
So the irony is not lost as you grow older. It's like, I didn't have to worry about bills though.
I know. It's crazy. Youth is wasted on the young. That's my favorite thing. Oh no, we're lost again. Are we lost
No,
again? Oh, here.
no, you're back. You're back. I think
Okay.
that's, well, yeah, just like that. I'll end the stream shortly because I know
Okay.
that's being an issue. But I just wanted to finish that thought out, because I think that is something that can be discussed upon. Like my thing is, we all want to be right to some degree, and that's where dissonance and confirmation bias comes in, because we'll always want to support our right to be right, but it's not really a right, it's more of a psychological matter. um and again, like
Yeah.
things with, and again, like it was, not to intrude too much, but again, like I was saying with earlier, with all those questions, the things that I had about, if you view this as something as simple as that, you could easily just trample it,
Mhm.
and it can be a non-issue anymore. And I think those are questions people who either call themselves a libertarian or a Republican or whatever political BS there is,
Right.
you're going to have to ask yourself the difficult question: once the government, the thing that we help create, sees this, rule set that we were given a long time ago as just parchment and ink, who's going to save you?
Right.
Who's going to help you? That's the
So you
real
have,
question.
yep. That's
Yeah.
why I love that. So only in the last 10 years, more like 8 years, have I
Mm,
got back to religion and had a relationship with Jesus. I'm so thankful for that, because I do find that rest where you said we're in the world but not of the world.
mm.
That's where it's like, whew, thank God I know who I serve, because there's no being moved. Yeah, it might suck, it might get rough, but thankfully I'm just a foreigner, you know what I mean? I'm just traveling through, whatever happens, happens.
Get your card stamped.
Yep, here's my paperwork. So, yeah, no, I feel like if you either gonna bow to God or you're gonna bow to the government.
Yeah.
I prefer to
And,
bow to
and
God.
and yeah, and there's discussions to have about that too, because right, it's not just the only religion. You have Buddhism, you have
Right.
Hinduism, you have other stuff. So there's discussions to have in that too. But the point of the matter is not to come at as an attack, but as a child, right? As a child, we are in wonder of our
Mhm.
surroundings. We are in wonder of the universe. It's the thing we forgot, right? Like going to the moon is simply within our grasp again. We don't have to go to Mars. That should be an after effect. Going back to the moon should be a priority to try again. But we
Right.
don't. Why have we lost that wonderment we had as kids? Well, because we've got everything else bearing down on us. Because as adults you have responsibilities, especially if you have kids, right? If you have kids, it's just doubled up.
Right. Uh-oh.
So
There you are.
it's, oh yeah, did you lose me again?
I did.
Sorry. Yeah, it's getting close to that time. Uh, but yeah, don't you don't be like a child. Don't come through life as a child, but don't lose the wonderment of a child, right? Because you're
Mhm.
gonna have kids and they're gonna have that wonderment, and you're gonna be at a disconnect. You're gonna be over there and they're gonna be over here, and that disconnect is so wide, but there's that wonder, the
Mhm.
old glorious wonder, and I feel like it's not worth losing, even if
Yeah.
it means having to deal with being adult for a while, which is
Mm.
gonna happen anyway.
Well, it's like we grew up and we think we're supposed to know it all, and so we are ashamed that we don't know it all. Our ego won't let us admit to it, so we stop asking why. And it's like,
You
no, no, no. Embrace the child in you that doesn't know anything, because you get to
mm,
learn something new. You get like so much about it. I can't understand why grown-ups are afraid to be innocent or vulnerable. Vulnerable is, I think, the word. Like
yeah,
the
innocent.
to not know.
Yeah, innocent kind of goes out the window once you know what sex is. So it's kind of, you're not innocent
Yeah.
anymore. You're not.
Yeah,
You're
vulnerable
not.
probably is the word.
Yeah, you're not innocent anymore. But no, but and then like you're saying, like stuff like this, to have those conversations. I've seen too many times where one, it's overcrowded, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go up to like 4 people, but after that, it would have to be a slow build-up process. Because
Right.
having too many people, everyone loves chaos to some degree, but once you have too many people, discussion is over. It's more like a
Absolutely.
sideshow. We're more of a circus now. You've come to see a
Mm-hmm.
9-person circus.
And you know what? Much credit to you is that you're not just saying this. You're for real. You came here to have a conversation, to learn something. You didn't ask me anything about myself. We have spoke what one time in DM, and I think you just said like thanks to me, and then this. So
Yeah,
we didn't come here. You really just wanted to find the gold in being social and having like figuring out what people can talk about. I applaud this. It's very hard to do. I was
yeah.
nervous, but this has been wonderful. 2 hours and it doesn't feel like that at all. This is great.
That's what I like about the random is you could pick up on something and just keep going. Now I could keep going, but I'm not getting any rants for that, so we have to go a bit of time.
Yeah.
Because people want to enjoy their weekend and the Wi-Fi thing is being a bit of a piss hand. But no, I was about to say that too, is like we're almost to 2 hours and I don't think we've well, there were a few times I stopped, but that was just to show things.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think we've really ended on the or stalled for air, whatever, because one, we didn't have too much noise to deal with. Well,
Mhm.
okay, there was a dog barking, but
I
honestly,
know he won't stop. He's still at it.
there's a,
He's all,
but
"They're robbing us. They're robbing us." That's what he's saying. I
yeah,
imagine what he says when he's barking.
yeah, and but the thing of it is like for me, I um I've just seen too many like FNT, some streams that Nick has done or whatever. All these people that get up to like 9 or 10, the total amount that StreamYard does, it's too
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
And I know everyone wants to have their friends on and all that stuff, whatever. Calm it down.
Calming down
Pull
is
it back.
right. I've done it.
Focus. Yeah.
Yep, 1,000%, you are right. After 4 people, it's just unless you
Heck,
can get a host that's willing to be like, hey, hold on," or you know
yeah.
what I mean, can somehow balance that, but it's a miracle. 4 people, I think, is good.
Yeah. Well, and also the thing too is like you have people who start because I've seen this sometimes too. I'll use Nick because this is where I've seen it from. Like the that fighting sometimes, right? One of the lawyers, whatever. At a certain point, you have to speak up more. I know he's trying to diffuse. At least the one I
Mhm.
saw, he was trying to diffuse. But the thing of it is at a certain point, you say, "Done." Shut
Right.
everyone's mics off. Say, "I will
Right.
let you back on if you will calm down,
Mhm.
step away for a second, and come back."
Yeah.
You don't have to be a leader, but you have to be someone who sees something and just takes an action. Because if you just let it go and you just go into trying to, some people are good at it. I'm not. I will simply say I will mute the mics if it got that rowdy. Take a minute, come back. If they don't come back, they were given an opportunity and come back later, whatever. But the thing
Yeah.
of it is if you're the host and you have that happen, you have to take control of it because it's at a point. It's like having 5 kids, right? You have 5 kids. They all want your attention, or they all want to say something. Be like, guys, you got to calm it down. Come back. They don't want to do
Mhm.
that. You got to take control.
Yeah, you
So
really do have to be a leader. You said that right. You do have to be a leader in those situations.
I the reason I don't want to say it's leader because you're a host. You're not really leading these people because after you're done hosting, after the show is over, they go back to their
You're
lives.
not there, you're not a leader, but you have to have
Referee,
leadership capabilities in those
referee.
instances to be able refereeing
Yeah,
the people.
yeah. Yeah, and and my way of thinking does not have to be the status quo. It doesn't have to be whatever. My point is, after seeing so many times of other streamers do this thing, and yes, drama happens, and yes, stuff about someone's past can come up, and it completely changes things. I'm stating this right now. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I've done bad. I mean, I wasn't the perfect kid, but I was probably a little better than my siblings. But that's debatable, based upon what my mom says. But I'm not perfect.
Right.
I'm no angel. I've done wrong. I will state that right now. I won't say what it is, but I've done wrong.
Right.
But when you have this drama stuff, it's just like, yeah, I content creators. Here's this. A long time ago, I said content, for me personally, content creators become the content they create. So if you're someone who says,
Mm.
I don't like drama, I don't want to get involved with drama, and sometimes it's out of your control, fine. But once you start reacting to it in the sense of it keeps going back and forth, you're the content you have created.
Yeah, that's a good thing to think about.
It's this whole social thing. It's this whole psychological thing, and no one is perfect to deal with it. I'm not perfect.
Right.
I'm lucky I get to deal with one-on-one. It's just me sometimes. But when it comes to those points of like a lot of people or whatever, and you're having an issue, step in. Be an adult. Adults have to step on each other's toes sometimes and be like, look, I get it, but it's enough.
People have the wrong idea what adulting is, I think.
Bills. It's all bills.
It's all just bills. I know. It's like I couldn't wait to get to the real world, and then I got here. I'm like, it is just bills. This sucks.
But it doesn't. But again, we have that thing where it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And I'll I'll say a few things, and then we can end on our whatevers. But there's this. I've never really had a hobby before. I've kind of drifted from like playing guitar and all this stuff. But a while ago, I got into rock collection, semi-precious rock, whatever. So I've collected a few amount, got them through different ways, but there's a place up in Michigan where I go to and I get these big chunks. I don't have too many of them, but one of them is this one. I don't know if you can see this. This is,
obsidian.
No, this is obsidian, but it's obsidian with midnight lace.
Ooh, so what's that mean?
It's a silverish, you'll see like a silverish sheen on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the midnight lace. It's a new, it's from Oregon, I think is where I've been reading it's from. But because there's mahogany, there's golden, and all that. But this, the place I get it from, they sell it by per pound. Like so it'd be like $3.50 a pound for one stone or $1.50 or whatever. But this one I really like because of that silver sheen to it. And obsidian, if you get it just right, you could cut stuff really good with it.
It's sharper than surgical steel.
Yeah. Some of them, and they sometimes use it in surgery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when it breaks off, it doesn't dull. It breaks to another sharper point.
Yeah,
I love obsidian. I love rocks. I'm a rock hound just like you.
So I have a big chunk of rose quartz. I have a big chunk of smoky quartz, but that was sort of from a camping site I went to. They had a sluice and stuff, and a little long story. And then I have banded hematite, which is just another iron form or iron ore. And it's got it from the same place too, that banded hematite. But right now I've started getting into rock tumbling. So it's sort of been because the rock tumbler is loud and I don't have any place because where I live. Mm-hmm. But I'm enjoying the process because, you know what? Have you heard of labradorite?
Yeah.
Okay, so the pieces kind of vary. Yeah, it kind of does that from time to time, but it's more because I'm on Wi-Fi and that's part of the reason. So, but we're almost done. So labradorite, right? I've been tumbling labradorite. I just like labradorite because of that color, right? You see that you turn it and you see that chain. I got two. Oh, don't hurt yourself.
No, I'm not gonna hurt. I have this piece of labradorite that I got for my birthday last year.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, you can't see it without the.
It's hard to. Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice piece. I've gotten kyanite, if you know what kyanite is. There's just that, but anyway, so I'm doing smaller pieces I've bought, and I bought two big pieces from another place in Michigan, where I'd like to tumble them, but they're kind of big, so I don't know if they'll fit. But smoothing them out and getting that nice rainbow sheen, which is sort of like the what is it, the amylite, or it's sort of form of fossil where it has the same rainbow effect, but it's just like you get it smoothed out and you can see that rainbow sheen. It's amazing. And you get the stone smoothed out and everything. I like raw a little more, but to have that smoothed out and look at it, it's like, if you just get it right, oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
I know. I love it. I love the rocks. I love to find them in the wild where it's like I'll come home from, if we're out like jeeping or something, I'll come home with just
Yeah.
pockets full of rocks. I love them. I got a whole rock table and everything. I found this pumice in my yard that is supposed to have only come from the exploding volcano and the like the air bubbles basically bursting but
Yeah.
solidifying at the same time. So there are these black pieces. I found one, it looks like it has a footprint of some animal in it. I found it all over the
Yeah,
place.
she froze up again. Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
Just give it a second.
Am I back? Well, we are at 2 hours. Am I back yet?
Don't leave.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
I hear you.
Yeah,
We
go
did
ahead.
do 2 hours, so I don't remember what I was saying. I was just basically saying that
The pumice.
like to look in the dirt for yeah, it's super awesome. It shouldn't be out here, really. It shouldn't be underground in my backyard. It shouldn't
Yeah.
exist there. So it makes me, I like to think of what happened, 1,000 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, there was this earthquake we had here. It's been like a while now. It's been a lot of years, but it was maybe 5 years ago. It was a 7.2, and that created this fissure that was like 30 miles wide. And so when that happened, I was like, they discovered another fault here. So the Garlock fault and the San Andreas fault.
Yeah.
And they knew about them both, but they discovered that they connect where they didn't understand that they did before. And so it just made everything different. But I started thinking, dang, what if there was like an ancient volcano here, I don't know, 10,000 years ago or something, and that's how this pumice ended up being in my backyard. And so we put in a BMX track in the backyard, and as we were putting in like the ramps and the different things, we were digging with the bobcat, we uncovered some more of the pumice. Like, what the heck? It's just under the ground. I know, I love it. I love playing in the dirt.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, now there's one thing you have to be careful of is each state has their own rules about how many rocks you could take from like national parks and stuff.
Oh yeah, national parks, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to, or just from like whatever, you just be careful of that. But there are some stones I can only buy. I can't get where I'm at because it's just, it's not, there are some certain things that like in Utah has like not malachite, it's some azurite or something like that. It has azurite. A malachite, if you've ever seen a piece of malachite, oh my gosh, those things are, yeah, you should look up malachite. They have this weird, that's green.
Oh wait, I might have a piece of that. Malachite?
Yeah. Malachite, it's green, but it has those weird designs on it.
Oh, maybe not. I have this light green one that comes from space. No, this isn't the same one, I don't think.
I think that's a meteorite to some form of degree.
Damn, what the hell was this called? This malachite you think is?
Malachite is green.
Malachite is copper.
I think you can share the screen. I don't know.
I can't. This doesn't look like the same one that I have, but mine is like it's called something. Damn it, I can't remember the name. It's light green. It's kind of bumpy. It's see-through if you hold it up. Shoot, I thought it came from like
1 second,
space or something. I don't think it's malachite. I'm not great.
Well, there's one place that there's a place in like Russia where they'll
I do have.
I'm trying to find a good image of what I'm talking about. Okay, just my internet doesn't want to play nice.
I did get this meteorite for this year's birthday. I haven't taken out of the plastic yet.
Oh. Ooh, yeah, it's a little dark. Yeah, it's a little dark. So. Ooh, nice.
It's super cool though. It's magnetic.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna try, my internet's whatever. I also, this place I went to recently in Michigan, they had like a junk pile for stones, and I got this like ball. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Here. So it's bubble wrap, but this right here is the pyrite. It's pyrite, but it's very brittle and clunky and fallen. So this, you can't see it, but this is pyrite. It's all cracked and stuff. But if you listen in the glow, you can see the pyrite stuff. It's like little small cylinders. I keep it in the bag because it's just very crumbly, and I don't want to lose any pieces to it. So, um, and then one stone I got, which was like $15, was muscovite. So muscovite is a mica. This is muscovite, and
Mm.
it's just thin layers clumped together. Look at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But if you touch it, it leaves like bits and pieces in your hand, like flakes. So
Yeah.
it's very fragile. You have to be very careful with it. So, and it cost me $15 of where I bought it from.
Isn't that crazy what we'll pay for a rock?
Yes. Oh, here. Yes, but some of them are pretty. Okay, so these two right here, these are both labradorite.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Oh,
can't really
wow.
see, you can't the
Yep.
rainbow color. But these are both labradorite. I'm hoping at least do one of them tumbled because they look really nice with that color open. Yeah, I know. I should stop by now, but I like showing off. Okay, so here's one I got. I'm not going to show the store I got it from because whatever. But this was a mystery bag item. So the mystery bags cost from anywhere from like $8 to like 30 something bucks depending on. So this piece I got right here. This is black
Ooh.
tourmaline.
Wow.
I know it's kind of
That's
hard to see,
cool.
but
Yeah,
this
I
is
could see.
but it's
It looks like a
that's
chunk of coal
yeah, it does,
almost.
but it's tourmaline. It's black
Wow.
tourmaline, and some pieces look like this, some are not. It just varies, but yeah, I got that for like I think it was $12 was the mystery bag. Oh,
Nice. Were you
oh.
happy with that?
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
I've bought smaller chunks of tourmaline, but there's like two little bitty pieces, like 2 for 1. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
tumbling one of them. I'll do one more. Oh, here. This is the one I told you about. This is kyanite. I'll
Oh,
take it
that's
out.
pretty.
Hold on, I'll take it out. It's a little now. Kyanite is a bit fragile because it's a quartz based, but it has a nice blue color to it. So this right here is kyanite, and you can see all the pointy stuff and all
I
that.
think I have some of that. I wonder if this is kyanite. Like, is it light blue?
Yes, light blue. Now there is apatite, but this is not apatite. Apatite's a little more darker blue, but you can see the. I think I have a light. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I've got a flashlight around here somewhere. Okay. Say so. So this is. I know we can't see it very well, but that's kyanite right there, and you can see like the fibrous strands and stuff on it. It's very difficult, I know, but I'm not
Sorry.
working in the best of light, but it is very fragile. Even the bigger chunks is very fragile, so you just have to be careful. But yeah, I got this for like maybe the same amount, 15. But yeah, I have a huge collection. Some are tumbled, some are not, because sometimes if you do a mystery bag, they do kind of come tumbled.
Mm-hmm. I have a big old selenite here.
You have selenite? Ooh, I've seen those.
I got a couple
Some
of
of them
these.
are. Now I have the smaller versions. Now it's called selenite, but they do give it another name, which is TV gypsum or
TV, yes.
yeah.
When I was a kid, I went to Death Valley and I got this thing called this. I love the selenite. The selenite's dope, but
Yeah.
They called it a TV rock, and I went
Yeah.
everywhere with my TV rock, and I just put it on everything, and like no
Yeah,
matter what, I was that kid.
Yeah. There's also I know there's a metaphysical thing to the stones, or like quartz.
Right.
I don't care about that.
Me either.
The look and sometimes the rarity of the stone is just amazing. Just think a
Yes.
stone that's probably been buried for thousands of years, you get to pick up in your hand, and it's this
Yes.
weird colors, this beautiful color, it has a weird shape to it, and I get to collect it. Now I have on a smaller scale, I have doubles of selenite, which I'm trying to get away from, but I've gotten chunks of lapis lazuli.
Yeah.
I've gotten one I don't have is the desert rose, which is expensive in some areas, so it's kind of like I just got a piece of unakite, if you know what unakite is.
No, I don't think I heard
It's
that
a
one.
it's a multicolored stone. I'll show it next time. I've gotten plenty of quartz, rose. I've got a crackle quartz, which is just sort of this bubble quartz.
I have a really cool bubble. I didn't know what that was. It looks like melted rock instead. I should
Well,
show you some of my stuff, and maybe you could
there is an
help
app.
me figure it out.
There's
And
an app you can get. It's called. Well, I have to go off Rumble for a second. Okay, one second. It's called Rock Identifier. That's the name. Yes, that's the name of the app. And yes, of course, they'll ask you to pay, but you can just cancel out of that, and you'll still be able to use the camera.
Okay.
And you'll be able to take. Now you have to take a good, clear picture of the item, and sometimes you have to kind of focus your camera. But if you take a picture of it, it can help identify. Sometimes it might get it wrong. It
better than I
varies.
would do on my own.
Yeah. So I mean, quartz is sometimes easy to identify, but that's because it's so much of it.
This one that I have, though, it looks like it's melted. It looks, I don't know, it's hard to explain what it is. I have no idea what it is, but it's awesome, and I found 2 pieces of it so far.
Now, see, in the past I've done magnet fishing as well. So sometimes you'll get stones that are magnetized, and they get pulled up by the magnet. If you know what magnet fishing is.
Yeah, totally.
So sometimes they'll get these like stones that are a bit magnetic. Now I don't know if they're meteorites or whatnot. That sometimes
don't they have to be?
Sometimes the information is a mismatch. So sometimes it could be like iode stones or something like that. I can't remember what it is.
Okay, there's a second. So there's another stone that's magnetic. Damn, I wonder if that's what my meteorite is. What if this is fake? How would I know? Well, I don't know any other space stones.
Well, I don't know if it's iode stones or something like that, but it's the original, compass magnet of what they or whatever. Because I know that you can.
Oh, that makes sense.
Lodestones. That's it. Lodestones. Thinking of lodestones. LODES. But yeah, it's such a fascinating thing to learn and stuff. And yeah, people make a business out of it, which is fine. I would like to make a business out of it too, but it's just tumbling takes so long, and I just collect them for the look of things, right? I don't have a place for them. I just keep them in a bag. But to collect these the chunk ones, which I showed you for the obsidian that I can buy them from at, I'm trying to get many different ones. They have tricalcite, calcite. They have limestone. They have fusite.
In the obsidian? Or you're talking about by itself?
No, the place where I got the obsidian from. Because of the rose quartz one I got from there, the obsidian one I got from there. But they have different ones. Like mahogany obsidian. They have the amethyst. They have amethyst there. They have fusite. They have a whole different other ones. And once I went there to get stones, I didn't know they were there, but I was like, I can buy these huge chunks and take them home.
Yeah.
Still can be a bit expensive, but I can buy them and take them home. Nice. I just don't have room for them. So,
Have you seen those big old, like, what do they call those things where you have to break them open and see the crystals inside?
Geodes?
Yes. Oh.
Yes, they sell them there too. There's certain sizes, whether they be small or big, different pricing. But yeah, I've seen those. I'm not really interested because they're usually just amethyst in them anyway. But I mean, to crack one your own is pretty neat in its own right. So, but
my friend had a daughter with this. She had this round stone in their kitchen window, and we were at like some birthday party of his, and he was showing me this stone that his daughter found. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think it's a geode, because I've been too far in the geode. It was perfectly round. It was the right weight. So we're like, okay, we went to the girl. She was probably like 10. We're like, this is a geode. We should crack it open. She's like, okay. So we go into the garage and we smash a rock. It's just a regular rock. Yeah. No more round rock for the poor girl, but there's no geode. It's nothing inside. We're like, sorry about that. Sorry, you're right here. I know.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is you don't want to misjudge it, because like you just did. Now the girl has no round stone. Yeah. But there are stones you have to be careful on. Obsidian, can be very sharp, so be very careful. Stones like the muscovite, very fragile, so you have to be careful with it. So there is a point of care. but it's beauty, the wonder in this creation, earth creation, that is just
Yep.
there. And yes, there's a business in it, but once you have a piece, it's yours or until you're alive, and then everything else is sort of iffy.
Yeah.
So
I feel the same way. We've done gold mining here, and finding gold is like, oh, it's the same thing where there's a value to it, but the finding it, the pulling it out of the earth and being like the first person to touch this ever, it's wonderful.
but yeah, be careful because you could also get pyrite too. So
Oh, I know the difference.
oh, yeah. Okay.
I also have a tester just in case I can't tell the difference.
Shit, where'd you get that ring from? Oh, gold.
Well, I mean, they're looking at gold and pyrite, like
Yeah,
you could tell.
there's a difference, but it's very, you have to know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can be very difficult. Like, I found gold. No, that's pyrite.
Oh,
That's
I have a
fake.
piece of quartz out on the front porch, and it's got all this pyrite through it. It's super cool because you could easily convince somebody that that's gold
Oh,
because it looks wonderful. It looks just like gold, but it's
I
not.
like when you can find quartz and almost any other stone with it, either mixed in or on the side. Because
Really?
sometimes you can, well, the quartz varies, right? You have smoky quartz, you have rose quartz, you have all this other quartz. But when you can find quartz combined with another type of stone, whatever it may be, it can be very interesting because quartz is, it's abundant, right? Oh,
Mhm.
one more thing. I have an actual chunk of silicon. Actually, it's man-made, but it's an actual chunk of silicon, which is the stuff that's used in computers, your phones, all that stuff. Silicon is the basis for pretty much everything of that.
Okay.
And I have a bit of too. I bought that at a store that was selling it, but it's a chunk of it.
Is
Um,
it like is that um
it's
an
a it's on the table. It's on the periodic table.
okay, that was the question, yeah.
They just made a form of it, like a chunk of it that you could buy, but it's still a
Dope.
man.
I like that.
Yeah. And then there's also another one. It's called gold stone.
Mhm.
It's a man-made precious stone, but it's got like there's a few different varieties, but the one I like that I have is like a copper reddish, and it's tumbled, but if you see it, it's all this sparkly and all this stuff too. It's
Mhm.
very beautiful. Even though it's man-made, it's very beautiful, and it's
Yeah.
very very secretive. Like they won't tell you what's it made of. But anyway, so that can be another stream where we deep dive into the
Totally.
stones. Yeah,
I'll
and
bring
deep.
all my rocks. We'll go for it.
Why is there a mountain in the background? Look, I had to take it
She's
from the guy
permanent.
out back. Yeah, I had to take it from the guy out back. Don't worry about it.
I'll just put a GoPro on my head and wander around because I got too many rocks.
Yep. Well, and you think about it, there are people who do magnet fishing, and that's what they do. They just go out, they have a GoPro strapped to their chest or their head, and just go for it. And they
Yeah.
edit it, but they.
Yeah. Our local, lake, they drained it because of the dam, and then we had the drought, and for so long, I wanted to go magnet fishing because it was lower than low. It was lower than they expected it and then droughted. So it was like, "Oh, it's perfect time to get out there to these spots where you wouldn't have been able to get a magnet to or even, like, even considered it," but,
Yeah,
I haven't done that yet.
yeah.
One
No,
day.
yeah. It's just one of those things we kind of have to. And like I said, parks and stuff, they have their own, state parks and stuff. They have their
Yeah.
own rules about what rocks you can take or how much. But
Mhm.
when you're I was told to like join a club or something like a gem or mineral club because they can get into like mining areas where you can go see that stuff
Right.
where they mine it.
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
there's
Yeah, that's
and
what
there's
mhm.
go ahead.
Same.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna say the same thing, like, when we were gold mining, we had to be part of a club because most things are owned anyways as far as claimed around
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and then, aside from that, you have the permission now to remove the minerals from the earth or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. There's private property, there's state property, and it's very messy, but it can be quite a hobby. And yeah, it is a hobby because only a certain few can make a sort of living off of it. Like you have to do something else, but it can be a worthy one. And I just, I don't want to pay thousands of dollars for a nice looking stone, but if I can go out there with permission, obviously with permission in certain areas, and I mean, if you dig on your own property, the only thing you have to worry about is like electrical, gas, and stuff. But other than that, anywhere else, get permission, and you could find something, even if it's not quartz. You can get like granite, that red granite.
Yeah, I don't think even on your own property, I don't think you own any of the minerals beneath the surface.
Well, you can still dig though. It's your property.
No, you totally can, but I wonder, like, if someone found some ancient coin, if I found some ancient coin, would I say anything about it, or would I have to turn it into the government? You know what I mean? I don't
If you just don't keep your phone on you, they can't. They won't be able to spy. Eh, That's a conversation for another time. Is the
Yeah.
cell phone game? It doesn't matter. iPhone, Apple, or Apple, Google, they're no different.
Yep.
You just use them. So anyway, okay. So go ahead and promote your stuff again. I'll do the same, and then we'll kind of close out with like maybe a final word. We won't do like Jerry Springer style. Like my final thought for the day is that whole be whack.
Okay. Well, I'm just Divinity 143 on Rumble. Subscribe, come see me, hang out with us for live chats Monday and Tuesday and Thursday. Divinity _said on Twitter and Divinity said on YouTube. Pretty much Divinity
Yeah.
said will get you to me anywhere.
So, and those are your 3 ones, right? Rumble, YouTube, and Twitter. Okay. Yeah. That's same for me too. Name the same name across the board. Now Twitter will be under a different @handle name because I could only change the name. I can't change the @handle. So, but the username is Daramouthe across all boards. It's like YouTube /Daramouthe, rumbles.com/Daramouthe. It's all that. So I'm all there too. I don't really have a consistent schedule of all that stuff. Some people do. I don't. But I usually do it on Twitter X and leave something there, and then people can come or not. And you've seen that. You reposted that.
Totally.
So, but anyway, so that's where we're at. So either come to one of ours, both of ours, whatever you'd like to do, help support us. And if you're on this, if you've been watching, if you've been enjoying our conversation or hating it, like Darth has, call you out. Well, no matter where we are, well, mostly on either YouTube or Rumble, leave a like, leave a comment, give a follow, either all or one of them, whatever, anything helps, right? Like we're not looking to be mega stars, but the more people are allowed, able to see us, the more that maybe there'll be something we talk about they have in common with, or they might agree with or not. And the whole point is the connection. I'd like to make more connections. Divinity would like to make more connections to explore, to talk about different things. Like we just rambled on for the past 2.5 hours where we thought, well, what are we going to talk about? Everything. Talk about everything.
I love that.
But the rule of a conversation is not to come in as an attacker, but as a wanderer of the other mind. And that's just me. Don't have to follow it. The Divinity doesn't have to follow it. It's whatever. But for me personally, it's not coming in to attack or set a trap. It's coming in to learn, to be of wonder. And I think that's the lesson we can take away from this is that don't lose your ability to wonder. Yeah. Yes, you could get into a specific area where you're questioning your existential existence, but don't go that far. Just don't go find something that can give you a bit of wonder, where it's looking up at the stars or learning about the rocks or whatever. Find something that will bring you a little wonder back in your life, and maybe you'll be able to relate that to someone who's not in that sense of relate to, but in a relation of information, right? Not all information we have is correct, but that's why we learn. That's why we continue that process. So that's our word, ending word for this stream is wonder. Let's get some wonder back in our lives, because I'm telling you right now, we're all too stuck in our own heads that we forget it. So, but I want to thank Miss Divinity. She didn't have to come on, but she did. I'm a nobody on the internet, just like we all are. So to have these conversations, to have someone like her and others to come on is a special treat. So go to her, go to me, all that stuff, and enjoy our content or not. So thank you all who came. I appreciate you all. You're all beautiful or whatever. Or whatever. I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
they are.
Yeah. We're all beautiful in some form or fashion. Unless you're a roly-poly, then different discussion. So anyway,
Burn.
as they went downhill.
You're still
Anyways,
beautiful, you roly polies.
no. Oh, no. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah. Now this is going to be some end stream.